Welcome in. Welcome in. Saturday is here. I'm not usually here on the weekend, but it's a special weekend. I'm here with the one, the only Coach Jake. Coach, how you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good, everybody. Let's go. Saturday. It is Saturday. And yeah, Ty, you're not usually here. So this is a special appearance, everybody, by Ty Hayes. Ty Hayes,
Yeah,
everybody. Boom. Love it. Love it.
bit of a special
Um,
moment.
yeah, man. It's Saturday, you know. Saturday's unique, right? Because everyone looks forward to Saturday, but if you had a crazy like Friday night, Saturday sucks. So it really depends, like for me at least, that's never the case. It's not I'm low key. I don't do anything very much at all. So
Yep, I'm an absolute homebody. I'm a hermit.
mm,
You're not going to
I
catch
like
me
it.
out. I'm at home watching sports, watching something. We have got the entire family in here, though. Jor's in here. We have Antoine, Sweet Home Bama. Kevin's in.
Oh, something happened. I saw Kevin's in here. I don't know what happened, but Ty got disconnected. Everybody, oh no, Ty. Oh wait,
They
he's
just
coming
tried to
back.
get me to enter the transfer portal, but that's not happening, ladies and gentlemen. Not today.
Boom, he's
Not
back.
today. The Swedes got Blaze. They're not getting me. That's not happening. Speaking
Yeah,
of, ladies and
yeah.
gentlemen, I have a little bit of good news on that front.
Oh, Ty, you gotta fill me in, man. I like this.
The Swedes, they reached out. They said that they saw all the support. They said
Yeah,
that they saw that it was mandated that 250 likes on yesterday's live stream
get
and
it.
he would be freed. I got a notification this morning that
Hmm.
that live stream went over 280 likes. So he is
Whoa.
on his way back home. They
Appreciate
gave him
it.
some Sir Strummond, which I know he's going to be real unhappy about, but he
It's
will
good,
be
man.
back at some time. So
Yeah, love it. I love, dude. That's that. I mean, that's good. I'd love hearing that he's freed. We're good to go. He's coming back. I hope you guys all enjoyed him too. He's just, he's one hell of a guy. Yeah, I mean, a little wild, but one hell of a
problematic.
guy. Problematic, just maybe not a guy you want to hang out with all the time. You know what I mean? But it's all good. I like him. I mean, I don't know if I could keep up with him all the time. You know what I mean? It's just what's that movie? What's that movie? Where it's like they before the wedding. You know what I'm talking about? They go on that bachelor. Everyone knows it's one of their favorite movies. You know what I'm talking
The
about?
Hangover?
The Hangover.
Oh, are you
I feel like
saying Blaze is like Zach Galifianakis in The Hangover?
I don't know about Zach, but I'll tell you this: he for sure deserves a role in that movie. 100%. They ever do another one, they need to make sure they hit Blaze up. 100. Dude, I wanted to show you this cup. Man, this cup is I gotta show everybody this cup.
Is
This
it your
cup is
Waffle House
very
cup?
unique. See it? It's a Lion King. You know what it says?
It's
It's
good to
good
be
to
king.
be king. Man, I'll tell you what. That's a cup everybody should be drinking at University of Alabama. I'll tell you. Use this one every morning for coffee.
And speaking of being king, ladies and gentlemen, one of the things we had to listen to for the past month, really for the past 2 months, if we're being literal here, because the second Kalen DeBoer was hired, even some within our own fan base, and listen, if you had initial questions of can he recruit in the South, I don't think that you're necessarily misplaced. You had to
Hmm.
see results. Ladies and gentlemen,
Yep.
less than 2 months later, results are pouring in. This weekend, Alabama is playing host to several of the nation's top prospects, which really
Whoa.
should come as no surprise. Ever since the
Hmm.
dead period ended, it has been more of the same. How many times, Jake, have we been sitting here talking about, oh, these are the prospects you need to expect? And then we look the
Yeah.
next day and it's like, oh, there were 30, 40 guys that just popped up.
Wild. I mean, there's guys showing up who aren't even like putting themselves on the official visit list. They're just like, and it's not an official visit. I have to correct when I say that
Yeah.
because an official visit is like a breakdown. Like there's a full thing for an official visit. I'll tell you guys that official visits. There's a lot.
Ooh, that's going to be a
Um,
good discussion we'll have here in a bit.
yeah, we can talk about official visits. They're fun, man. I love them, but like just showing up in general, right? And talking about showing up, Patriot Life just shows up this morning, starting the day, gifting everybody. We appreciate that, Patriot Life, man. You always are in here. between you, I know Jay Townsend does a lot. I know that, I know there's a number of people in here. I don't want to forget Dwight. I think you do some too. I love that, man.
Do you think that the John Cena intro music is copyright free? Because if it is, every time Patriot hits one of those, I just want to hit the "It's John Cena."
Jones. Yeah, I love it, man.
Dun, 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 dun.
Oh gosh, I love that. I love that. I mean, damn, my favorite intro music. I wish we could use it, man. Is the Chicago Bulls, the '90s season, that intro. I love that intro, man. That's one of for me that like takes me back to that time frame. I love that. That's one of my favorite. I mean, there's something that pumps me up about hearing that stuff. I mean, shoot, even the Space Jam intro, the old Space Jam, not the new one, not the new one. I'm not. No, thanks. But I saw some new faces in here who are not Adam Watson. I don't know if you're newer or not a fan funder. Think about becoming one. But what's up? I know we saw Lee Thompson. What's going on, man? In Roll Tide Way Go basketball team. Yeah, basketball team did a great
And go
job.
Yale.
Go. Yeah,
Go
baby.
Yale.
Yeah, that's so funny, man. Gosh, there's so much I could say behind that, and I won't because I hold a standard. Bama standard for sure. I'm gonna leave it at that. I could go into
Well, it's a
very
good thing I'll
crazy.
punch below the belt. You tell me whatever needs to be said, and I'll let it fly. Right? Everybody
Yeah,
needs. I've said this so many times. One of my favorite shows in the world. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
yeah, okay,
And I love the scene where they're planning and like they're assigning everybody a role in the group, and Charlie's like, "I'm gonna be the wild card." And they keep
yeah,
having to tell him, like, Charlie, there's no purpose to having a wild card in a group. Nothing positive comes from having a wild card in the group. So at one point during the episode, he cuts the brakes to the van and they try and hit the brakes and they're like, "Oh my God, it's not working." And
hmm
Charlie just screams and goes, "Wild card," and jumps out the back. And then they were faking it. Turns out they knew he did it. And then they just braked and they just got rid of Charlie. So I'm the wild
yeah.
card of this group, right? You tell me what needs to
I
be
love
said,
it, man.
and I
Mhm.
will I will divulge it to the people. That's my role
Yeah,
here.
I love it. Well, this is a funny comment, and I appreciate this, David, in a unique way. It's actually kind of cool. David goes, Jake, you could be the coach, and the Bama Factor will still bring recruits in. I don't necessarily feel like that's a good thing, but I'll tell you, like, and it would, being a coach at that level, there's a lot of things that I have to do for that. But it's funny. The truth is you're right. Like, I think that Bama Factor is huge. Just like Ty is saying, I mean, you bring up this wild card, right, Ty? Like, you as a wild card, the wild card. You think of the wild card of what's going on right now with Bama and in this recruiting aspect. The guys here on the weekend, who thought that this would? It's almost like you could say KD is the wild card of the SEC,
Honestly.
right? Mm-hmm. But I mean, look at like this the energy that's brought in, and I don't want to. It's hard because when we look at a program, a lot of guys just highlight the top of the chain, and that's your head coach, and he does deserve 100% a lot of that credit. But at the same time, you have to look at everybody there, like everybody. You know what I'm saying, dude? Jermaine, that would be my favorite job of all time. I will tell you that right now, dude. That would be a dream job for me. Don't even mess with me on that one, man. Whoo! I would do anything for that. He
I'll
says
tell you what,
Merrill
I'd do
for
anything for Patriot Life because he just gifted another 5 Bama football on YouTube with Kyle Henderson
mm-hmm,
memberships. Patriot Life,
dude.
we're gonna have to figure something
Mm-hmm.
out for you, my guy, because your support has been unbelievable. Thank you so much. And what do you got there? I noticed a new profile picture for Patriot Life. What kind of bike
Yeah,
you got
man.
there, my guy? I'm
Dude,
interested to
that's
know
sweet.
that.
That's I like that, dude. And you are. I mean, we do appreciate you very much. Like coming in here and doing that. Like, there's something to be said about just constantly being in that giving attitude, that mindset of I don't know. It's like gratitude. It's around gratitude. They talk about it a lot, and that's something I think that mindset that takes you very far in life and puts you in connection with people. The universe has a power. Like, it's some people. For me, I'm a God guy. I 100% believe in God, like all the way. And so I believe in that faith, and I believe that when you focus on that and you listen, and at the end of the day, you trust in that, and you're You have gratitude for everything you have, everything around you, no matter how big, how small, right? Every day you wake up and you have that gratitude, your life is going to be good. And I think Patriot Life's one of those guys who's always given, and I bet you got a lot of gratitude too. So we appreciate you, man, 100%. And I know there's a lot
Sure.
of people in here are like that,
No doubt.
100. So lots of love, man. There, lots of love. So, dude, I love it. Ty, the Yellowstone Rancher, baby. Yeah, yeah, Ty. Woo, dude, you could be on the 4-6s, the new show coming out, man.
Well, it's crazy. My dad used to go down there whenever they would do the cattle drives. He would
Mm-hmm.
go down there and he would tell me stories about like you're doing the cattle drive down there
Yeah,
and you'd stop and get the chuck wagon wheel. But my dad
yeah,
trained horses for the 4-6s and all them. He knew them
dude.
very, very well. King Ranch
Isn't that crazy?
4-6s, like but he was a man of the people. Before he unfortunately passed, he had
Yeah.
been to 33 foreign countries helping them establish the horse industry. And like you think I have stories? This dude had some crazy, crazy stories, and it was awesome getting to listen to him. So yeah, I haven't seen the new 4-6s show though. That's gonna be cool.
Yeah, so it's supposed to become there's supposed to be a new 4-6s coming out. That's gonna be really dude, that's amazing that you can even say that, dude. That's pretty cool that your dad, I mean, I know we're jumping a little bit off subject from football, but I gotta tell you guys right now, it kind of all relates. I'll tell you this, and I'll tell you how it all relates, because in the end of the day, and Ty would be able to speak to this way more than I would, but these guys are every day from dawn till dusk, right? They put in that work every single day. And it is not a job where you just get to have this freedom of life, not doing work one day or another. Something is always going on, right? And why I say it relates so well is because you have to have that cowboy mentality. You got to have that willingness to go out and just do the grind. You have to have that that grit, right? And that's something we have in our staff, in our players, and at University of Alabama right now. I will tell you what. It's funny because we bring up some of these quotes from Yellowstone or some of these shows. Maybe some people watch it, some people like it, some people don't. I don't know. But it's that, I don't know, this the cowboy mindset, right? Just that grind mindset. We're going to get out there and we're going to do it. And I love that. I love that way that it's being looked at, man, is that we're here, we're going to round it all up, circle the wagons, and we're ready to roll, you know? And it's,
Shore has a
man,
question that you might know.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
assuming that they is Kyle and Smook. Are they at practice this morning? I would assume so, Jor. You know how
mhm,
Kyle and Smook are, man. You know how
yeah,
they
they
are.
got practice. Oh,
I,
it's Colin Smook at practice?
I would assume so, just
Is that what
knowing
you're
how
asking?
those two operate. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like if there's
mhm,
media availability today, just knowing how
yeah,
those two grind, I would assume they're
mhm,
out there. But yes, Bama does have practice today,
mhm.
so it's a
Yes, they
great
do.
day. And then there are 3 recruits that I
Mm,
think we need to talk about. And
let's
we
do
just
it.
talked about the cowboy mindset. I think all 3 of them have it. We got Dijon
Mm,
Lee at
I like it.
Alabama, David Sanders, Ty Jackson.
Ooh, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, you land any one of those 3. That's a program changer for 98% of college football.
Yeah,
95% of college football doesn't have a chance with any one of these
uh,
3 guys.
dude, these guys are studs, absolute studs. I mean, you, at least so we could start from the beginning if you guys even want to, but we look at Dijon Lee, right? Stud, Mission Viejo, California. He's given different. Everywhere has different numbers. The recruit all the recruiting websites always have different numbers for what guys perform at or what their height, weight, what their bench press is. Half of it's just kind of like a random guess. So, um, but I will tell you this, man, with him. So he looks 6'3", 6'4". I would say maybe between 6'2", 6'4",
He's a
because
big
if
boy.
you see the picture of him there's a picture that was posted of him and Courtney Morgan standing there watching practice. He's tall. And I think Courtney's pretty big too. I mean, as far as height wise. So, um, and I mean, he's a stud. He's from industry ranking based on like On3, right? He's the number 5 cornerback. I know some places have him all the way up to number 3. He's number 1, considered number 1 player in California. Overall, like the guy's a 4-star. I would with industry rankings, I could see him potentially hitting that 5-star. You and me have talked about this, Ty, this ends up being something as the season rolls on, that we see a lot of these guys within that top 30, as long as they maintain the way they're playing or excel and continue to get better, which we project majority of these guys are going to continue to get better, right? They haven't hit their peak yet, hopefully. Then at that point, you're looking at these guys towards the end of the season or towards this next season getting that extra star bump. Like I said, this class is loaded with people. I mean, how you bring up 3 names, we could probably, we could probably
I'm
go
just
through the first
scratching the
100.
surface.
Holy
Yeah.
smokes. Seriously. And then there's guys like nobody, I mean, there's guys out there that nobody really has seen or really touched yet. And this happens a lot. And it'll be interesting to see where these guys start making their headway or their names into the recruiting world. But with him, he's a stud cornerback with Dijon Lee. Like, I love it. He has a really good attitude too. I like his attitude. I mean, he's one of those guys that, overall, you listen to the way he kind of presents himself. He's really, really good. Just from a mindset standpoint, from a work standpoint, from his overall abilities, and I think his fundamentals. So he's exciting. For me, he's one of my favorite players overall, from like that defensive back standpoint. There's a few others I will say, but if I were to break down the first 10 defensive backs ranked, he's probably one of my favorites for sure. So, but have you kind of watched some film on him?
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm actually looking something up right now because I don't know track times very well. Are you familiar with like hurdle times? And listen, I know what I've seen on film, but I'm just interested in so Dijon Lee, and guys, you may have noticed, I use 24/7 Sports Composite a lot, and there's no wrong answer in terms of which site you're using. If you're wondering why you always hear me say, "Oh, 24/7 Sports Composite," because I love Josh Pate, right? Josh Pate. I've been able to talk to him several times. He's a great guy.
Man.
He is a supporter of my channel. He's the first person in the industry that recognized me and really tried to put people on my channel. So I'm always on the 24/7 sports ranking, just trying to show that love right back to him that he has always shown to me. And if we're looking at Dijon Lee, Jake comes in as the number 23 corner, or I'm sorry, number 23 player in the nation, the number 1 player in the state of California, solid 5-star. And what's interesting is they have him at 6'4", 190 pounds. When you read the evaluation, there is not one negative. There's not one, oh, well, he'll need to do this and then get acclimated, or there's questions about, there's nothing. If I may, and I'm going to quote Greg Biggins, national recruiting analyst, and this was evaluation on 1/30/2024. He says, and I quote, "Lee is one of the longest corners in the country, pushing 6'4", 190 pounds. We could see him transition to safety at the college level, but most schools like him at corner, and that's his desired position as well. Can smother an opposing receiver at the line of scrimmage and is very good in press coverage. Has good feet and change of direction for a tall corner and is rarely beaten over the top. Can get in and out of his breaks and can get his hands on a lot of the footballs thrown his way. Is physical in run support and isn't afraid to get downhill and lay a big hit on a running back. He's smart, heady player as well. Understands the game and has the positional versatility to be an impact player at multiple spots in the secondary, which gives him even more value. And he has logged a 16.27 in the 110-meter hurdles. This is a dude. Patriot Life, I'm so sorry. I had a different screen pulled up, dropping the $20 donation, saying to the coaches and all the undefeated, much love and roll tide. If you don't have each other's back and respect for one another, you have nothing. 100% Patriot Life. I couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you so much for all of the continued support. Jor says that Dijon Lee probably needs a little bit more height. Maybe, it's certainly if
Oh man, love the jokes, Jor. Love the jokes, Jor. No, I'm just kidding. But no, seriously.
Love this kid though, Jake. Love it.
Like I said, one of my favorites in this whole class, man. I mean,
I like him and offered. If we could get offered from Ohio State, long process still, but that would be, boy, can you imagine? And that one's going to be an uphill battle, no doubt about it. But you have proximity, you have Mo Linguist, you have Hitchler, you have Clinton Dix there, you have all that. Can Can you imagine if they pulled Dijon Lee and somehow
Wow.
are able to flip Naeem Offord?
Wow. I mean, it would be extremely impressive. There's a couple of guys, because there's another guy, and you got to forgive me with his name, but he was the cornerback, if I'm correct. That was, and I have to look at it, but I think he's committed to LSU because I
Okay.
think there's a cornerback that's committed to LSU. I have to take a peek at that real quick, but I'll tell you this, man, like that's probably with one of these guys, like even getting one of them, because again, you look at like just the talent levels in general, right, of this class. I think there's so many other guys that I can mention that I've watched and I've seen film on that are absolute studs. Um, and I would be happy with just about honestly any of them. They just what they bring now. It's just the gap though from what you're paying attention to is who maybe makes the impact on the field the soonest, and then who needs a little more development, right? And we already have such a large chunk of young guys. This is why I think in this class what they're going to really pay attention to is who has those fundamentals, those key things that they want to pay, that I guess that they think are they only need to polish off a little more instead of just bring in from a standpoint of this is going to take a lot of development to get this guy to where he's going to be as his potential is this high, but who knows? I think that's what we are going to maybe see when we go after cornerbacks, just because we did get so many DBs. But as I've said before, the DB thing now, if you're a DB, you're going to eat as long as you're out there working, going after it, you know, because with the way these defenses are run today, basically that 3-4 nickel package, what we're seeing now with the swarm D, that's something. And it was that cornerback I'm talking about from LSU who has we've heard we've heard a little bit is Jabari Antone.
Okay.
That dude, that kid, I like that kid a lot. But he's been interested, so I like that, man. It'd be interesting too if you know LSU. There's been some talk a little bit here and there. DeCorian Moore, that stuff. He is the number one wide receiver in the
Oh, I got
nation.
some intel on that.
Yeah. Do you want to share? Do you want
So,
to hold?
oh, I can share. I can share
Okay, let's
because
hear it. Let's hear it.
this is the
Yeah.
one thing I've always said
Mhm.
this. I'm a fanless, but being that I do general college football content, I get a lot of tidbits and nuggets thrown my way for teams not named Alabama, right? So, like, there are
Yeah.
a few
Yeah.
teams out there that I have a pretty darn good understanding of, a very baseline, but an understanding of like what's going on.
Mm,
The DeCorian Moore situation, just because I
yeah.
have so many in my circle that are Texas content creators, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
It's interesting to be committed and then
Yeah.
release a final four
Hmm.
while you're committed and
Hmm.
saying, "Oh, I'm not listening to anybody else outside these four." There is a lot of thought amongst the Texas people that they have got a real shot
Hmm.
at flipping DeCorian Moore, getting him to stay because he's got a lot of people that he knows that are going to be on that Texas Longhorns team.
Yep.
You got a lot of people there. And if they're able to flip DeCorian Moore, I mean, you think about it, Colin Simmons was a 5-star edge from
Yeah.
Duncanville. He's now at Texas, right? So, like,
Hmm.
he'd get to stay in the state of Texas. He would get to play SEC ball.
Yep.
It's one to watch. LSU
I
is
know.
recruiting at an elite level right now. They have the number
They
one
are.
quarterback in the nation. They have the number one wide receiver in the nation. It's LSU.
Hmm.
They recruit well. Watch the DeCorian Moore. I'm very
Yeah.
interested. And Jake, we know what Sark does, right? Like,
Hmm.
guys in offense, in terms of play calling,
Yeah.
Sark is a play caller. I mean, his opening
Yeah.
scripts to me are some of the
Yeah.
most beautiful opening scripts in all of college football. He, DeBoer. I mean, I could just sit down and watch their
Hmm.
first 15 plays because it's usually art. I mean, it's
Yeah.
art.
Well, and I'm very familiar with Sark, so from that standpoint, just because he's at Washington the second half while I was there. So, but but yeah, so I think in general you're spot on. That's probably, and like I said, you have that kind of little further deeper intel on that aspect, and it'd be interesting to see, as you said, like releasing a top four while you're committed. That's going to be that's
Interesting.
okay. It's interesting for sure.
I haven't seen
Um,
that too often.
No, neither. I mean, neither have I, man. But that would be those are probably be the two names. And I there's not like so much on. You obviously have a lot more on the Decorin Moore aspect, and that would make sense. Staying home for him with the SEC aspects, and like you said, so many people that he is close with already. But the one who was at practice and had come on an unofficial checking out the school, checking out what's going on, right? Was that Jabori Anton. And I like him a lot. I mean, I think he's a great player. Overall, like he is from though Louisiana. So that's going to be I again for some of these guys who maybe have grown up in that area and maybe grew up maybe as fans, it's a hard one to pull some of these guys
Oh,
away.
no
But
doubt. And it's
you know
always
what
the
I'm
most
saying?
understanding loss, right? Like if
It is. It
here's a
is.
great example, Caleb Cunningham, right?
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
so long, he's from Mississippi, and for so long,
Hmm.
this was a two-team race. Is it going to
Yep.
be State or is it going to be Ole Miss? And Bama's doing
Yeah.
a phenomenal job at chipping away. LSU is
Hmm.
as well. But if that's a kid that decides at the end of the day, hey, I've grown up loving
Yeah.
State, or
Hmm.
I've grown up loving Ole Miss, and I feel like I could be a piece to help them get to another level or help them, and he goes there, you're going to see me stand and applaud. Why? Because
Oh
first
yeah.
off, if you make the correct decision initially, you're less likely to
Hmm.
transfer, and that's better for all parties. It's much
Oh
better
yeah.
that you make that decision as opposed to going somewhere, not liking it, transferring, and then there's chatter everywhere. Oh, why did he
Yep.
transfer? What?
Mm.
So I love that point you make because to me those are
Yeah.
always the easiest to stomach recruiting losses because it's like no, that is a principled reason as to why you would go there, and I'm happy for you. If that's what you grew up
Agreed.
wanting, that's awesome for you.
Yep. Yep.
LSU is the only that's the only Division 1 Power 5 school in Louisiana. They have
Hmm.
got an ability to capture the hearts of Louisiana kids, which makes it difficult to recruit in LSU. But Jake, I'm going to tell you what,
Hmm.
Saban, he would go into he would go into Louisiana and point and get
Yeah.
wins. I mean, his ability to recruit that state was unbelievable.
Well, I think that goes with Saban though. I think he had a huge advantage because it's almost like he in the weirdest way, he kind of had them by like the collar, saying like I came here and won y'all a national championship. I know what it takes in the state. Yeah, there's something to be said about that because there's like almost you walk into any household where the parents are maybe huge fans of LSU and they're like, well, hey, Nick won us a championship, so we got to respect that. You're going to win there. I think there was that factor for him. I really do. I think that was a big deal.
I
But at
think
the
him
same
giving
time,
DeBoer his blessing will help unlock a
I
lot
think
as
so
well.
too. Like C Dial just says in this right here,
Yeah.
this is an interesting comment to be made. Did y'all see what Ryan Fowler had to say about the defense on Teague Take this week? He said Saban was impressed and we're trying to get their dime coverages to where Womack's is. I think you must be talking about like previously when Womack was at
Yeah.
Southern Alabama, but yeah, no, I do. I think well that was the cool part about hearing them meet and coming together because Womack describes it right as like they're here with the 4-2-5 swarm D. Saban's over here with his 3-4 nickel, and what they were seeing this trend of them coming almost together, right, getting closer and closer in similarities, and we heard with what Miller talking about right when he stopped real quick and talked with Kyle and talked with Smook was he brought up the fact that there are a lot of similarities, very few differences. Maybe some of the biggest ones you'll see is like obviously the type of coverages that's you see that 425 with that zone drop read, and then you saw Saban's with the more complex aspect of his coverages with the 3-4. But that's just the way it's ran. But I think in the end, it is cool to see that this is all that there's a lot of respect there because I think I think one of the biggest question marks a lot of fans are having is they feel good about the offense because we've seen the production of it. And I mean, I can give you guys a whole bunch of numbers. I read some stuff last night that blew my mind that was out of newspaper reporters out of Sioux Falls that did a big personal piece on Kalen DeBoer. I'm going to tell you what, it hyped me up even more. I'm a big KD fan, but I got even more excited reading this. So we can talk about that if you guys want to. But I'll tell you that the defense has been just a question mark, right? Like everyone sits there and is like, "Oh, are we going to have that standard? Are we going to meet the standard on defense?"
You know what I think is so funny? And
Hmm.
I almost wish Jance was in here because, like I said, Jance and I have streamed together for so long. And I love it whenever something that Jance and I talked about a year or 2 years ago comes up because I can instantly be like, Jance, do you remember when we went on like a whole hour tangent about this? He knows how much Washington over the past since DeBoer got there, I have made it no secret that Washington was a team you could catch me. I did not miss a game. I
Yeah.
watched every Washington game because I loved Michael Penix. I threw an
Oh,
absolute fit when he didn't make it to New York for the Heisman his first year at Washington. I thought that was
I
terrible.
know.
I even did a stream, Jake, where I took away all the names of the players that
Yeah.
made it to New York and just put up the numbers. And I asked people, what do you think? And
Mhm.
unanimously, they picked Michael Penix as someone who should have gone without even seeing that. So for Alabama to get DeBoer when Saban retired, it almost feels like poetic to me,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Because I completely agree with you, man. I could not be more hyped up. I think he was easily one of the best answers. I know some in the fan base, you like Lane. I like Lane too. But I think DeBoer is a buttoned up Lane, right? Like you love
Mhm.
Lane because you love his offense. DeBoer has
Yeah.
that same offense, but DeBoer is not trolling on Twitter or you know what I mean? Like he's just a buttoned up offensive guru. And like
Yes, he
that
is,
to
man.
me is going to pay off dividends. But to your point, when you look at the defensive staff here, that's why
Mhm.
I have been so adamant to highlight one, you retain Freddie Roach.
Yeah.
That is huge because I'm
He
going to tell you this right here. Teams
Mhm.
came.
Yep. Yep.
You know, Bo Davis went to LSU from Texas. The
Mhm.
Texas people wanted Roach and they wanted
Yeah.
him bad,
Oh, yeah.
right? He if
Mhm.
you listen to the I don't know like if serious offers were put out. I don't know about any of that. But I
Yeah.
do know if you listen to anybody from Texas, they were like, "Please go get us Freddie Roach. The guy's
Oh,
a
yeah.
monster."
Oh, yeah.
Keeping him huge. Hitchler,
Yep.
Linguist, with
Mhm.
Womack. This defense, I think, has the makings. And Jake, I've said this before. I think that the interior defensive line is going to
Mhm.
be the best interior defensive line we've seen for a few years from Alabama.
Oh,
I
yeah.
am so fired up for Otis fully healthy, another year in this system, and
Mhm.
Tim Keenan next to him with LT Overton or Keon Keeley, and then maybe a Yonze Pierre, a Noah
Yeah.
Carter, or a Keanu Cott, or a Quindarius Robinson. Dare I continue? Quay
Mhm.
Russaw. I mean, I can keep going. Genuinely, Jay Sean Ross. Like we can keep going, and this front has the ability to be massive. Now,
Oh,
C.
yeah.
Dial says, "Watch the film, guys. Tape breakdown on Washington's run games." He's a Georgia guy. He said, this is coming, guys." So it's actually funny. C. Dial. I sent Jake a ton of all
Mhm.
22 film of
Yep.
Washington's
Yep.
offense that I have been dialed in on.
Mhm.
What have you seen from that, Jake? We haven't had an opportunity to talk about that.
Yeah, man. Well, in C-Dial, I don't know how much you jump in here. I mean, I think I've seen you in the past. I
Oh,
can't
I've
remember,
I've
but
seen him in the past for
okay,
sure.
cool. 100.
He's a
So,
great
yeah,
contributor over here.
great dude, man. And so I don't know how much you know about me, but I come from Washington, right? Like that's where I played. So it's funny the connection there. I had a fan actually reach out to me. He goes, I grew up in the '90s, big Washington fan, loved Don James, and I loved watching Washington play in the '90s. They were very dominant in the '90s, put it that way, and they were. I'll tell you this is that's what also transitioned me from a standpoint of how much I enjoyed it because through the recruiting process, I liked LSU when Nick Saban was there, and then when he bounced, he wasn't there when I was being recruited, and then obviously he came back during the time frame I was playing, and I'll tell you what, if Saban was there, no doubt I'd be instant tied all the way. But watching the film. I think when you look at the run game, honestly, when you look at all the aspects, and you have to give even a lot of credit to the defensive side, right? And the reason I say that is because they do run a 4-2-5 at Washington. The only difference is obviously what we're going to see is Womack has its own. Everyone has their own twist and their own little specialty, right? Like they're, like every grandma has a different way they bake the cake for
Yeah, I
grandma's
love
way.
that. I
You know what I'm
love that
saying?
analogy. That's a fantastic analogy for it.
That's what it is. So Womack run, and I think with Kane, his is almost perfected because of the standpoint that his dad is like an originator of this of creating this defense, along with Gary Patterson from TCU, and then you had and I'm not giving him credit, but from Virginia Tech. I can't believe I'm forgetting his name. His son's the coach right now.
Beamer.
Beamer. Yeah, Beamer's
Beamer
another one.
ball.
Yep, Beamer ball. Yep. So he's another one. So those guys all are created, but Washington still runs it. And now again, from a defensive side, from a recruiting aspect, it is a tougher area to recruit. So you don't necessarily have the quality or the depth of the defensive players. You have some studs, don't get me wrong, but that you're going to get obviously in the SEC or at Alabama, LSU, Georgia, or some other schools from a defensive standpoint. So yep, Frank Beamer, thanks, Adam. So it's interesting because you watch all the film, but especially in the run game, it's very much like how do they utilize their linemen are all moving constantly, and they're within that time frame where I guess that area where they are doing their shifts and their motions. They're and we've talked a lot about this. Coach Sean breaks this down really really well because of the film he talks about, but you see how they utilize their run game in a way that sets up their pass game, which an offense should do, but it's also the way they take away from the eye discipline of the defense, right? With the movement. That's
Create
that's
assumptions and then make you pay for your
mhm.
wrong assumption.
That's right, man. I mean, straight up. They make you believe one thing based on the way they're moving, and you can't help it because it's not just one movement. If you watch their shifts and then their motions, I mean, you're tricking the brain at several different levels. And we talk about it's called an OODA loop. If you guys ever heard of that, has anyone ever heard of an OODA loop?
I actually
Some of you
haven't.
guys, military tactic wise, what it does is they talk about it in battle, right? That the people who can process, basically, it's processing things as quickly as possible. And I can break it down some other time for you guys, but they are utilizing the trick of the OODA loop to slow it down, the processing system in your brain for the defense, so they cannot react as fast. In a battle, when you slow down someone's OODA loop, those are the people who you lose, right? So that's the idea. This tactic, this way of going about. I mean, that's why it's called tactics, and I think that's why it's good to call DeBoer a tactician and this offense tactician.
Well, and for Alabama fans, this is going to be the best offense you've seen since Steve Sarkisian. And one of the things Sark
Mm-hmm.
is a little bit similar in the sense of making the defense assume something and then making them pay
Yeah.
dearly for that
Mm-hmm.
incorrect assumption. Bama fans, how many times did you see that beautiful orbit motion in 2020 with Devontae Smith? Orbit, nothing. Orbit, nothing. Orbit, nothing. Well, that fourth
Yep.
or fifth time, orbit, they're popping it to Devontae Smith or whoever out the backfield, and it's a huge game. My favorite play that they ran during that 2020 season, you might remember this one, Jake. I know the undefeated will. Devontae Smith would run a fake almost a fake
Mm-hmm.
screen where one of the receivers would pop back and
Mm-hmm.
Devontae Smith would go to fake the block. And the second that the cornerback saw him coming to block, the
He
corner's
bites.
already starting to fight off.
Yep.
Devontae Smith would just push off of him and then take off down the field.
Mm-hmm.
And the defense consistently would bite for it, and then Devontae Smith right over their head. And I would watch that time and time again and think to myself, this is such a simple design, but simplicity is the key to brilliance.
Oh
And
yeah.
I think in a lot of ways, Kalen DeBoer is the exact same way. Different ways to go about it, but that
Yeah.
same mindset of I'm going to create an assumption. I'm going to lull you to sleep with all. You remember, I always talk about the feints. Where the
Yeah, oh
feints,
yeah.
you're going to stop biting on the feint one of those times, and then the next thing you know, that two is coming straight down and it's popping you in the jaw, followed by the hook. I mean, DeBoer is so creative with what he does. That's why I'm pumped, man. I'm a defensive guy, and I haven't
Mhm.
been so excited for offensive football in a long time.
Well, it is exciting. I mean, you like you said, it's all these little things that they do is to meant to slow down the reaction and make the defense make mistakes, just from the standpoint. I mean, and going back to kind of what I had said with the OODA loop, the way it's broken down, it's observe, orient, decide, and act, right? And so it's all based on decision making and then taking an action. And if you can get one or two missteps, then that creates your opening. And what's even cooler with, I think, from a DeBoer standpoint and this offense is that it does it in a way where they set you up and they put guys in these one-on-one situations, and they're one-on-one guys. They every time they do it, it's a situation where you will be beat. Like they set you up to lose, right? It's playing the ultimate chess match.
I love this comment right here. Hacker says, I always complained. And Hacker, once again,
Hmm.
Jake, I've said this so much. This is someone who
Yeah,
is probably within the first 500 subscribers of my channel. So, I
love
mean,
it, man.
you want to
Okay.
talk about someone that is versed in my takes. If there was ever somebody who could be like, hey, you didn't say that, it's this man right here. It's Hacker. Hacker, one of the things I know you've commented it on at my channel, I've said, Bob and Reese did not do what, and once again, I'm very new into this. I didn't
Yeah.
have, other than Denzel, it's not like I played college football or any of this. So I've had to teach myself. So sometimes my
Hmm.
verbiage that I use isn't the quote unquote correct verbiage, but it's the way I refer to this
Yeah.
as foundational play calling, where
Hmm.
you're not necessarily looking for the big touchdown with your first or second play. You're setting it up for your third and fourth play. It's that
Yes.
foundational play calling that Sark
Hmm.
does so beautifully, but boy, oh boy, does Kalen DeBoer do it. And it's
Oh
just, you
man.
didn't have it over the past 2 years. You just didn't have
Yeah.
it.
Like it's crazy to think. I mean, just with his style, and I'll see if I can find it real quick because this was interesting. Is when he left like Sioux Falls, right? So Sioux Falls, the guy comes in, he takes over for the most legendary coach there. I mean, of
The Nick
geez,
Saban
like
of Sioux Falls.
Well, and I would almost say the Nick Saban, and let me pull that up because I want to make sure I get his name out here. But the Nick Saban of NAIA, FCS football, right? Like this guy, Bob Young, he was amazing. I mean, he's a legend, absolute legend. But so DeBoer's on that team, they win '96 that championship, and then the next when Bob retires, DeBoer takes over as head coach, right? And then from there, the first year's head coach, they lose it. They lose national championship in the championships. So they're runner up. The next 3 years, he dominates and wins. Right. But then you see like, hey, okay, this guy's amazing. He's this young coach. And he goes on and it talks about some of the guys he took over for from a quarterback standpoint. Like so Indiana quarterback when he's at Indiana, right? Peyton Ramsey. Okay. They saw his interceptions drop from 13 to 5 under DeBoer. So if we sit here and we want to question like, do we have the people in place to run this offense? And what a lot of it comes down to is what a lot of people question is Milrow. And I'm going to be honest with you, like it shouldn't even be a question. We are going to see such dramatic improvement. I mean, you listen to like this guy for that dude Peyton Ramsey. He had his best QBR of his career for that season, 147.7, and then it plunged almost basically 27 points the next season after DeBoer leaves because he goes to Fresno State. And so that's insane. And then over at Fresno State, we all know what he did. I mean, look what he did with Jake Haener, right? And Haener's now he ends up getting drafted and he's playing for New Orleans Saints right now. And Haener talks about what DeBoer did for his game. So just from a standpoint of what he does with the quarterbacks, but overall, what we're going to see, you're going to see them utilize guys at every single position that are phenomenal. That I mean, just really are going to bring out the best in each guy. That's why if you're a wide receiver, right, it would be hard not to jump on board. We talked about Caleb Cunningham from the recruiting aspect. I mean, I get it. I do when you're kind of going, oh man, well I'm from here and this is something here and whatnot. Deborah, what's going on? What's going on? But man, how do you, it's hard not to jump on board. And he
Especially
says that
Shep.
kind of in his interview. Yeah. Ooh, whoa, Shep, man, the energy there is amazing. Absolutely amazing. Like, wow. You know,
Here's a great
what did
comment from Kevin. He says, Ty, it's super exciting to hear that we can expect to have a dynamic offense this season, but defense wins games, and I'm curious to hear if Walmax D will complement this offense. I think so. I think the 4-2-5, and especially the way Womack does it, it's very complementary to the style of offense that DeBoer is running, right?
oh yeah.
I'll let Jake speak to that more in depth.
Yeah. So I'm gonna tell you right now with this 4-2-5, number one, look at it 100% C dial. I like what you're saying there with this comment, but going back to Kevin, like look at if you go back and you see the way Womack and everywhere he goes, coming out from when he gets his opportunity to become a D coordinator, he makes impacts, and not just like small impacts. They are dramatically big impacts to the overall performance of the defense at every place he goes as a D coordinator, even as a head coach, where maybe you are trusting someone else a little more to handle some things, and you have priorities that now are broadened amongst the whole team instead of just focusing on your job. I will say, even that's at Southern Alabama. You look at Southern Alabama and Ty, we've looked at that film, right, with Southern Alabama. The defense is it's phenomenal. Just and now you add the level of athlete at every single position, University of Alabama, because you can't go to a position here at University of Alabama on any position and say this guy is not one of the very best in the nation, one of the top 10 in the nation, right? And that goes down the depth chart. And you can thank Nick Saban for that. And we'll be thanking Kalen DeBoer and that staff for it too over the next few years. I'll tell you that right now. But yeah, this defense, and here's the cool fact of that. I mean, with something a lot of people do not think about or doesn't come to their mind right away. Every day, right now, in fall ball, this defense, you know who they're facing? You know who they're playing
DeBoer's
against?
offense.
DeBoer's
I said the
offense.
same thing. I love that. Please go
Mm-hmm.
in depth in this though, because this is an underrated point. This is a
It
great
is.
one I have thought about, I have lightly talked about, but Jake, talk to us about how this defense, they're going through a transition, but they're going up against an offense that
Mm-hmm.
has a quarterback that's returning, that is dynamic as can be.
That's
But
right.
even outside of that, even if
Mm-hmm.
even if they're like, okay, Milrow, you've thrown X amount of passes today, you've done great. We're gonna put in Simpson now
Yep.
to get him some. They got to
100.
go up against a former 5-star. They
That's
put
right.
in Dylan Lonergan. We saw what he did.
Yeah.
Dylan Lonergan, ladies and gentlemen, far exceeds his ranking. That guy is
Oh
a
yeah.
dog. They put in all. The defense has 4 quarterbacks that could start at 95% of college football that they have to rep
Mm-hmm.
against. Then we talk about the wide receivers.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a defense that is learning in the fire. Jake, talk to us about that.
100%. So it's funny because Womack actually says that in his interview. He says, with the, especially with install week being this week, and then we have a scrimmage today. So now today is going to be the first day, and I don't know if we'll see any film, right? Like just because I don't know if they're allowed to film that today. It might be just an observation from a standpoint of media, or I don't even know if media is invited, but they do get a scrimmage day, and we're going to maybe hear a little bit about that because people are going to have those questions. But now's the first day where these guys get to match up and play against each other. Yeah, there's still a bunch of stuff going on, like from a defensive standpoint, the install, and the offensive standpoint, the install. One thing they do is it's not just a competition amongst the players, but there's also competition amongst the coaches. There's a friendly competition. You know, Womack and DeBoer are really good friends. Okay, and Womack talks about why he took this job because he wanted to coach with Kalen, because they built a great relationship at their time frame while they were at Indiana, right? And
Didn't he
so,
say this is the only person he would have
mhm,
left to
yep,
be with is
yep,
DeBoer?
yeah, 100%. They had it. They had this goal someday to do this, and they're doing it together. But every day in practice, and this goes. I think the biggest group that gets the most benefit out of this, and I'll tell you that, is our defensive backs being so young. Okay, is that
Yes.
when they go in, right? They go into this practice and they are playing against this offense. this offense is, again, we've talked about it. It's meant to kind of confuse the brain, slow down your reaction, make misreads, assume something different, and then make mistakes. Okay. The benefit from these guys is young guys seeing this offense as early as they're going to see it in practice, because they're not playing against other guys' offense right now. They're playing against KD's offense, right? They're playing against Sheridan. They're playing against Shepard, who just really, truly look at what they just did from an offensive standpoint and what they've continued to do throughout their careers, especially with KD. It's pretty phenomenal. But you look at these guys from a DB standpoint and who they have to go against, what techniques they're going to learn. It's perfect to train them how to zone drop read, and it's perfect to face off against this offense because it's meant for read and react. So all you're doing is training these guys. It's like going day in and day out doing the same drills, right? Day in and day out. I'll tell you this from a background. I have a little bit of background in this, but if you're going in to clear a house, right, from a military standpoint, you don't just train one time and then think you can clear a house from like a tactical standpoint, right? But you have to do it, and it's very precise, step by step by step. Okay, everything you do is step by step by step, and you do it over and over and over and over and over and over and over until you can do it with your eyes closed. You could walk through the house and know step by step almost, right? Where to go, or you could just even feel it. Okay, the same thing goes for these guys that they're going to see it on defense. They are going to get so good at recognizing things that it's going to be very impressive when they step on the field against other offenses that don't nearly have the same dynamic and I guess movement and complexity as you will see in this offense. I would be very, very excited for this defense. I am 100%. So
Love that. And I wanted to talk about this too because you said competition amongst coaches. There's
mhm.
great stories, Jake. I don't know if you've ever heard them about when Kiffin was here at
Mm,
Alabama and
a
about how
little bit, little.
Saban would ring him because they'd be trying to drill something in practice. And
Mhm.
Kiffin is telling Mac, go over the top. And they're like, just, you know, bombs away, taking shots. And Saban is getting mad because
Yes,
Mac is out there
I did hear
talking.
this.
He's running his mouth.
Yep.
Kiffin's running his mouth. So this is true because Kiffin was like, well,
Mhm.
why am I not going to try and score on Saban's defense? It's Nick Saban. Like, yeah, that's going to give me a
Mhm.
little bit of that dopamine hit too because I just scored on Nick Saban. Yeah,
Yep.
let's push it. So that I love that. Now, as we're winding down here, we've talked about the offense, we've talked about some of the defense. Let's talk about David Sanders.
Yeah, baby. Let's talk about Big Dave. Love it,
Number
man.
2 recruit in the nation per the
Mhm.
24/7 Sports Composite and 24/7 rankings themselves.
Yeah.
So, this is going to be a 5-star plus. What that means is he is going to be a 5-star on every recruiting service.
Oh, for sure.
And if one recruiting service doesn't have him as a 5-star, that's the recruiting service that you need to look at, right? What are
Mhm.
you doing? What do you think here? I mean, we talked the other day about how I received some intel from someone who covers a different team that
Mhm.
was not in the SEC. And they hit me up out of the blue saying, hey, Bama's doing Bama things on the recruiting trail, and y'all are really picking up steam for several top offensive linemen quick.
Yeah.
What are
Mhm.
you thinking here? What's your mindset? And talk to us about the recruiting that's going on this weekend.
Well, 100. So, this is a huge weekend, I think, from the standpoint to having for Dave being able to come back in. I know he has his official visit coming. I think it's in June. So of this year, I think that's when it's set up. I don't quote me on that though. I have to check. But with Dave Sanders Jr., I think what's cool, offensive tackle, 6'6", 270. He fits the perfect mold for KD's offense. This is what they like to see. This is how they created that Joe Moore award-winning line with guys with this sort of athleticism. You want to talk about, there's a reason why he's ranked as high as he is. It would be hard for me. I think he's the number one player in the class from a standpoint of what the value he's going to bring in overall, like what he can do. Because that offensive tackle position, there's a reason these guys get paid in the NFL, right? There's a reason why it's such a heavily focused position and what it does. Okay. I'll tell you, man, like that's probably one of the biggest things for me that I look at. I like Dave, his overall movement. The guy gets downfield real quick, and everything he does is very, very sound. Sounds like he has a great mental attitude, a great like mindset, and overall he is just a really, really, really good dude. And okay, and Todd, thanks for bringing this up. If we got this many people in, please, look over, hit that thumbs up, run it up for us and everybody here at Bama Football on YouTube. We love bringing you guys this content. We want to continue to do so, and that's what helps us bring that content. So if you're in here checking
Blaze
it
isn't
out,
back yet.
yeah,
The Swedes could grasp him back and take
Mhm.
him back. So let's make sure we keep doing our part.
Yep.
250 likes is the goal, ladies and gentlemen. If we can get to that, Blaze will return safe and sound, and he will
100.
give Auburn fans, oh boy,
Mhm.
howdy. They're not going to like what Blaze has to say about Yale.
I love it, man. I love it. But jump back to Dave real quick because I know we only got so much time, and I know we had one other guy we wanted to bring up. But with Sanders, I mean, he has the guy is going to be, a top pick in the NFL. The work ethic's there, his mindset's there. I think he's Bama. It's a serious thing for him because of the relationships that are built here, but also because of the Bama standard. Right? It is Alabama, and I think for him too, he sees this is an offense for him that he gets to for Dave, and this is why for him why it will be very important to see where he really breaks it down. This is an offense for him where he truly would be able to excel and show his full broad skill set as an offensive lineman, as a tackle, because of the movement, because of his athleticism, the way that it all comes together. He would thrive in this offense on the offensive line, and so this is I feel really good about Dave. That's one guy. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of guys in here, but that's one guy that obviously I think where he's at, number one player in the nation to me.
It's always hard to argue because listen, I love Bryce Underwood. I
Yeah,
think
he's
his
a good
game
player.
is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
It's always tough though, man, when you have an offensive lineman with the dynamic ability that Sanders has. I am with you here, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
it's tough to just be like, is he really not the number one player in the nation? And we're
Yeah,
splitting hairs here. We're splitting hairs here,
Mm-hmm.
right?
We are.
But
100.
it's an interesting discussion to be had because of the importance of the position, because of the versatility he brings to the table, and how technically sound he is. Very interesting prospect. Going to be interesting to see how Alabama is able to start off this relationship in a positive manner because we know that's one thing DeBoer and company have done so well. I'll tell you what though. We also have a commitment watch coming tomorrow, I believe. Luke Metz, right? Luke
Yeah.
Metz.
Mm-hmm.
I think Jake and I have made it no secret that that's one of our favorite players in the entire class. Last year, my under the radar player for all of you that I was like, hey, this is a dude. Forget the stars next to his name. They're wrong. All due respect to everybody in the industry. They're wrong. My guy last year was Justin Runquo. My guy this year is Luke Metz. Very excited about Luke Metz. I can
Coach Sean, everybody. What's going on? What's going on? Woo, woo, woo.
What's up, Mira? What's up, Ty? How you guys doing, man?
What is going on, man?
We're chopping it up. We're having a grand old time. How you doing today, Coach?
Oh, man, just on the run, man. Been trying to catch the bank before they close, man, and just
Saturdays.
Yeah, man, ripping and running. My daughter got events going on, and it's It's crazy, man. It's crazy.
Man.
How you guys doing, man?
We're good. Good. We're just talking about recruits.
For sure.
And Coach, I heard that you've been breaking down some offensive linemen. So before I go, I got to get your take on David Sanders, right? We were talking about, are we splitting hairs thinking he should be the number one player in the class? All due respect to Bryce Underwood, an absolute baller. But David Sanders is different. Coach, I got to get your thoughts on this.
Yeah, I watched a lot of tape on David, even before he was this highly recruited. Back when he was 6'5", 6'6", whatever it is. He was only like 270 then. He's not a super big offensive lineman now, but at the same time, I think what makes this dude good is what I noticed is his feet. And I skipped a lot of his tape when he was playing. I could tell a smaller school. You know, you can look at the schools and tell the school just not that talented. I wanted to see when he played the bigger schools, and I did my research on the schools.
Yeah.
And good feet, man. This kid got really, really, really good feet to be an offensive lineman. He's one of those kids that could play tight end. Is that type of athleticism. Really good feet, really good pass set. He's not lazy. And you could definitely tell his coaches have been very, very good, because you know how the high school lineman is. They tend to lunge. You know, a lot of times in high school, they just bigger and stronger than their opponent, especially individually. Most of the defensive ends and outside linebackers they go against are not as talented. So they just tend to use their athleticism, their size. This kid, he's not lazy. He don't lunge. He don't get lazy and lunge and get beat that way. Very, very crisp pass set. Good hand. Feet, man, really, really good feet. I'm really, really excited about this kid. Really good athlete, prototypical tackle when you talk about long arms and things of that nature. I was explaining to the chat one night why sometimes tackles can play guard, but guards can't play tackle.
So true.
You know what I'm saying? Guard, you pretty much just got to be really, really physical and understand gaps. What's up, Coach Jay? But tackle, man, you got to be an athlete. You got to be able to be out there on that edge and long arms and keep those guys from getting their hands into your body. And that kid is, to Ty's credit, to you guys' credit, that kid is definitely that.
Yeah, he's
Love
a stud.
hear. Anytime I see Coach Sean saying, "Hey Ty, you saw something correct. Y'all don't see it, but the second I get off camera, I'm like."
Oh man, you guys do a great job, broski. That's a whole fact, man. You know, when I'm at work, I put you guys on early in the morning. Just let it roll, man. I love it. I love it. That's a whole fact.
Before we get out of here, now that I have Jansen here, Jance, Coach Jake and I were talking about you and I's streams earlier, and one of the things that I find to be a little bit poetic through all of this: how many times over the course of the past 2 years would you be on my channel, or we be on a stream together, and you and I are like, everybody, Washington is the team you need to be watching. Like, if you're going to have a guilty pleasure pack team, go watch Washington. You remember I was mad as a hornet that Penix wasn't in New York his first year in Washington. And it feels poetic that the coach that you and I kept saying, like, hey, this program that he's leading, that's what you need to watch. I mean, they're doing good things. He's now at Alabama. Have you taken the time to like kind of have that moment of being like, wow, this is actually super exciting and it's almost poetic?
Oh yeah, I mean, when Nick Saban left, one of the first Kalen DeBoer was the first name I brought up. I know what Coach I would tell you. I mean, everybody wanted Dan Lanning and Lane Kiffin. I wanted Kalen DeBoer. Me and Guy, we watched this cat for 2 years. He did a great job with Washington, winning I think 10 or 11 games his first year. Michael Penix had, I think, similar stats, 4,000 yards passing. He was lighting it up. I'm like, wait a minute, this the same cat from Indiana? Is that the same cat? He came in there to watch him, man. He just started putting up numbers. Now, to be fair, I also like that kid from Thompson from UCLA. He lit it up. I mean, almost every quarterback in that Pac-12 team lit it up. So, I can understand why some fans would be suspicious. But no, I mean, I'm a big fan of Michael Penix. I was a huge fan of Washington. I love the way that they did, and in a way, like first 3 games, like I mean, Ty will tell you, I was shouting to the DreamWorks to watch out for Washington. I thought that could be a playoff contender. Then all of a sudden, I'm like, okay, I don't want to play this game. I kind of want to lose. I switched up real quick. I'm like, let me see this team lose a couple games so we can get in the playoffs. So it is what it is, man. But no, listen, Kalen DeBoer being here is great. It brings new energy, brings new life, different philosophies, different terminologies, and I love it. I love it. I think that, like I said, we knew that Nick Saban was going to leave sooner or later. I think he left the perfect time. And as every other school is going through their trauma and they're going through their chaos and their complaints about the University of Alabama, Bama is right now just now starting to surge. They're just now starting to surge. So like we keep talking about before, we get to that first spring window. That is Judgment Day. I will be playing Lord of the Rings on this channel. So the Lord of the Rings soundtrack will come on, right?
Please get me for that. Please.
Oh my God.
Please, can I be a part of that?
Yes.
That's awesome, man.
I will come in here
Lord
dressed as a hobbit. Like, I swear to you, I will come in here with a sword looking grungy.
I got my Jon Snow sword. I got my Jon Snow authentic sword. right? Paid $400 for it. So I got my Jon Snow sword. I'll bring that on. I'm not,
Okay.
I'm not playing around with when that first window hits. Ty, Lord of the Rings comes on. What happens? They play that angelic music, and they have that battle tension music. I'm telling you, that's we popping. That's popping on.
Are we talking Lord of the Rings or are we talking Game of Thrones?
Yeah, because you threw me off when you said Jon Snow. We're like, wait a minute.
Yeah,
now,
man. Which one are you talking about?
I don't have my sword. I don't have a Lord of the Rings collection. I'm a big Game of Thrones fans though, so I gotta
go. I get you.
Improvise.
Okay.
I gotta improvise.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna dress up as a hobbit. I'm gonna come in here fresh as a hobbit. Y'all don't even know. Y'all ain't never seen a hobbit come in here so fresh and so clean, ready to go. It's gonna be dastard.
Hobbit, man.
Dude, I love it.
No, you're right. You're right. But I could be a giant amongst the hobbits.
Okay.
A deity,
like
almost.
You could be, man. You could be Mr. Frodo. Now, Mr. Frodo was decent size. Was not that small.
Ladies and gentlemen, the two men above us, Coach Jay, Coach Sean, they've got you covered for the next hour, and you already know they do a phenomenal job with all of your Alabama football needs. Guys, can't wait to be listening into the background for everything y'all have. Thank you for coming in here, wrapping it up with us for a bit. You guys know I love any opportunity I get to talk to both of you. Sean, absolutely unbelievable having been able to work with you since December. I mean, the first time we got together, hit it off instantly, and I knew like this is a relationship that needs to stay. Jake, you and I have really cultivated a thing this past week, right? Like doing this duo stream.
Yeah.
And Jance, you already know, man. You and I have been rocking together since the very beginning of really both of our YouTube journeys. So it's awesome that we've kind of been able to do that separately from this channel, and it all came full circle on this channel. It's really, really cool. Until next time, guys, I will see you all on Monday. Roll Tide and have a great show, gentlemen.
All right, Ty.
Roll Tide. And hey, real talk to you both, man. Phenomenal. Can't wait to listen in and have a fun day. Hey, Coach Sean, you might want to address this one too. They were asking in the chat earlier. There's someone who asked, and I want to throw this out to you, is they wanted to talk about the run game and kind of the complexities. And you had brought that up the other day. So I said, if there's a guy to talk about it, it's definitely going to be Coach Sean.
I got you, brother.
Get after it, man. You guys roll Tide. Have a beautiful Saturday. And have fun.
Appreciate you, Jake. Thanks, man. Shout out to Gerald and Ty, man. Shout out to Merrill and Ty. Those guys are awesome, man. Coach Jay, handle that for me 1 second, brother, if you can.
Sorry. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Great day to be a Tide fan, ladies and gentlemen. I woke up a little late, right? Had myself a little, a pretty solid breakfast, right? Pretty solid breakfast. But a great day. Auburn lost and Bama won. Alabama did the job that Auburn simply couldn't do, right? The SEC champions, the tournament champions, the regular season champions, the best record per se in the SEC conference, the number 2 seed in all of college basketball, and they thought they were going to get an early win in the first round of the tournament, and they lost to an Ivy League program. Alabama did their job against Charleston Southern, so it all comes full circle, right? Auburn fans bragging, and Alabama is right now through a tournament. They've actually, so I don't know. Did Auburn really have a more successful season? They really have a more successful season because I don't know. I mean, Auburn won the SEC championship, but what did it get you? It got you a first round exit to a bunch of nerds. You know what? What did it get us? Right? We came losing down the stretch, and all it got us was a first round victory against Charleston Southern. So, yeah.
That's a whole fact, Coach Jay. That's an absolute whole fact, man. First, I was having some technical difficulties. I was trying to give love to my partners. Shout out to Ty and shout out to Merrill. Those guys do an absolute great job. It's very rare, man, that I can put on people and just listen to them, right, on other shows and stuff like that. I can honestly say, man, on this show, I can just put the guys on and listen to them. That's why I like doing this. I really enjoy it. I didn't think I was going to like social media like that, but hooking up with these guys and Coach Jay know my affection for him. Coach Smook, of course. These dudes are all pretty good, man. They absolutely awesome. Ty, Jake, Kyle, of course, Lady T. I appreciate all of those guys. They awesome at what they do, man, for sure. Let me see who we got in here, Coach Jay. Let me see who we got in here right quick, Coach Jay. We gotta run those numbers up if you guys can. Hit those like button when you hit that like button when you come in. So the video will get out. And
Shout to Patriot Life with the 5 gifts to subs.
Yeah, Patriot Life. My bad, Patriot Life. I was going down the list. Patriot Life always hooking it up, man. Shout out to you, Patriot Life. Gifted 5 Bama football on YouTube with Kyle Henderson memberships. So 5 people out there about to be blessed with memberships. Thank Patriot Life for that. He always hooking us up, man. Much love to him, and thank you for that, Patriot Life. Kimberly Harmon is in here. What's up, Kimberly? How you doing? I'm so glad you're in here. Ricky Smith is in here. Coach Smoot. What up, broski? How you doing, man? Let us know how that scrimmage go, man. I want the inside scoop, though. I don't want no. Wait. Damn the inside scoop. I want the smoke scoop, bruh. The finer details that nobody else can hear. That's what I want. Shout out to Coach Smook, man. Have a good time out there, broski. Hacker Music is here. My neighbor, Marquita, is here. Marquita, my partner. You know, we just talked about it. Good love to you, Marquita. Adam Watson, Clifton Howard is in here. George is in here. The brother Jermaine Mims is in here. Patriot Life, as always, man, hooking it up. Much love to Patriot Life. Clinton Howard. Who else? Kevin Lynch is in here, man. Marquita, my neighbor. Who else? Nicole Covington. What's up, Nicole? Glad you in here, man, for sure. Jeff Horn is in here. Hacker Music. Stephen Angle. JG. What's up, man? Ain't seen you in a minute, JG. What's going on, bro? Glad you in here. Carla Bailey is in here. What's up, Carla? How you guys doing? Glad you guys tapped in with us. Love you up in here, man. Bruce Seals is in here. Rodney Tuberville is in here. Dr. 334. Cole Train is in here. Matt P is in here. And Nicole Covington again. Got to give her 2 shouts out. Yeah, man. So I it's what Coach Jay was talking about earlier. Anytime Auburn loses and Alabama wins, is a good day for me in any sport. Give a damn if it's thumb wrestling. If Auburn loses, it's an exception, and we win, it's an exceptional day. So shout out to Coach Jay. Much love for that. And let me say this. Let me give Coach Jay his flowers. I can honestly tell you, Coach Jay was the first person, along with Ty Hayes, to be on this Coach DeBoer train. I was a Lane guy. I was a Lane train guy. I wanted Lane Kiffin, and it was only because I knew what Lane brought offensively. I'm an offensive guy. You know, I knew what Lane brought offensively. What's up, Deborah Rothschild? Much love to you. Glad you're in here. Tristan Bryant, a.k.a. the mayor of Tuscaloosa, and Bama Boys in here. Stephen Craig is in here. Shout out to you guys. Roll Tide. Hit those like buttons if you can. I'm an offensive guy, so I wanted Lane. I understood what the complexity of what Lane brought, right? But I wasn't looking at the bigger picture of head coaching. I wasn't looking at the I guess I didn't even give myself a chance to look at the downside, if there is one, right? The social media prowess. I didn't look at none of that stuff, man. But Coach Jay has always been on Coach DeBoer. Before I even knew who the hell Coach DeBoer was, Coach Jay was the one in Ty. I heard him talk about it as well. The two that schooled me to this guy, to really put him on the map and let me go explore. Let me really look at Washington. And I think I was a little biased, if I'm being honest. It's a Pac-12 guy. I ain't looking at that dude. That's how I was thinking. He can't coach. He ain't freaking Pac-12. I ain't looking at no Pac-12 coach. You know, that I was Southernly SEC biased in my brain. Now that I take a step back and really analyze it. So yeah, man, I want to give Coach Jay and Coach Todd their flowers. These guys were on Coach DeBoer miles before I was, and that's just a whole fact.
Yeah, it's been a hell of a ride, man. It's been a hell of a ride for Kalen DeBoer being here, and yeah, I mean, now we're about to head to the first scrimmage. We're gonna see what's gonna happen. Like I said, Coach Mook is gonna be there. I think both him and Kyle will be there. So I will, we'll both be asking him a lot of questions. See, Smook, when you ask Smook a question, he's gonna go overboard, right? He's gonna. I mean, he is. Yeah, I mean, he will straight up, like, instead of texting you, he'll call you. Then he'll talk to you for damn near. He'll talk your ear off, just talking about now. You just have so much information, you don't even know what to do with it. Yeah, to tell somebody about it, but you can't. So, no, but I'm excited to see what these guys can do. I'm really excited to see the improvement of Jalen Miro. I think, and now in a full scrimmage action. Like I said, I know we're gonna get to the run game to see what the run game complexity is gonna really look like, what the offensive line is gonna really look like. We've been just getting a lot of hype, and now I think we get to really see these two these two sort of schematics on both sides of the ball. We're going to get to see that off. We're going to get to see players that we've been anticipating for a long time. And yeah, I'm excited. I'm overall excited about the competition because of, I think, how open it is going to be by the time we get to the start of the season. I think it's going to be players that we maybe not even imagine to potentially get that opportunity. And I'm excited. I just can't wait for it.
Likewise, man. You know, I'm one of the ones that, you know, I don't get too high and I don't get too low. You know, I love the recruits. Coach Jell tell you back in the season, I'm a pessimist by nature. That's what I used to say. I used to start off with that. Especially with football. With football, I'm a pessimist by nature. I may tell the chat, yeah, I'm excited about it. I ain't excited. I don't give a damn about none of it till I see it on Saturday. I don't care. Great. You know, I try to be upbeat so I won't bring the mood down, but I'm just like that. I don't care about your stars. I don't care about where you recruited. I don't care about none of that. I don't. I need to see on Saturday what you do on Saturday. Then I'll be excited. You know, but I will say in the starting stages of a new coach, you have to take everything with a grain of salt because it's a new coach, it's a new regime, it's a new everything, right? So there's great possibility for stuff to go bad, right? So it went well. So you have to take your wins. You know what I mean by that? You have to praise every little W that you can possibly get with Coach Saban retiring, right? Things were set up to go extremely bad at Alabama, right? As far as not player wise, but I mean with the kids transferring, with the disloyal stuff going on, everything was set up for this team just to go bonkers. And Coach DeBoer has came in and done about as well as you could expect any coach to possibly do. So I want to give him his flowers, his staff, their flowers. You know, I'm just one of the kind of guys, man. I have to see it. I have to see it, man. You know, I ain't getting on here talking about our record and all that stuff. I got to see it because I am of the mindset. There's a lot of things that go into a football season outside of football. You know, these kids' lives and things they go through and mood swings of a teenager. I'm not a teenager, but a college kid. All this stuff affect him. You know, you try to drown out the noise and you try to block out everything that doesn't have to do with football. Coach Saban used to always say, you know, close your ears if it don't got nothing to the stuff that's not football. Control what you can control. But I know personally there's things that go on between an 18 to 22-year-old that affect him on Saturday. So I know these football games can go any way, right? So I just like to see it, man. I like to see it on Saturday, and the scrimmage is the first step to that.
Yeah, I completely agree. And you know, like I said, I'm the overall just competitiveness, the execution. It's all going to be very, very important. It's all going to be very, very important for the springtime. As far as like everything else kind of goes, you know, I know Coach Merrill and Ty, they were talking about kind of how competitive these coaches are going to be, right? I'm excited to see because these guys got a lot of energy, right? From what we're seeing on social media, just the full access that we've been able to see from these coaches. These coaches are hard and they're high energy. They're very, very relatable. And right, a lot of kids have been interested in them just because of the amount of access that has been shown to them so far. And these coaches look extremely animated. So I'm excited to see the competitiveness of this first scrimmage, especially because we got a brand new offensive coaching staff, a brand new defensive coaching staff. And, and from what I've learned, like I know like Mo Linguist personally, I know how competitive that dude is, man. That dude's a hard ass. He's a hard ass, right? He's a hard ass, right? He wants perfection and he does not expect anything less than that. So, yeah, I'm excited. I'm just excited to kind of see what this team can do. And, of course, you know, I know Coach Schmoop, Kyle Henderson, I think pretty much us too. We'll probably pretty much be recapping the scrimmage, kind of tell you guys how it is. I think we got 2 more scrimmages and then we got 8A. So
yeah.
8A is pretty much damn near around the corner. But you know what else is around the corner, ladies and gentlemen? It's Lord of the Rings Day. Lord of the Rings Day. Spring is. I'm telling you, man. That spring window pops up around that 8A period. I'm telling you, just like Lord of the Rings, how that giant eye opens up I'm telling you guys, it's gonna be something. It's gonna be something.
Jataris.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? I seen I don't know if anybody paid attention, but I read an article earlier where it was talking about the Cincinnati Bengals and the Chargers representatives, the offensive line coach for the Bengals and a coach for actually two coaches for the Chargers were really tapping in with JC Latham. Like
I
really,
think he's
really,
gonna
really.
get back at 5. I think he's
Yeah.
gone at 5. I'm
Yeah.
very. I've been mocking that. If you guys follow me on Twitter, I've been mocking him for months. I'm not changing my mind about that.
Which team?
The Chargers.
Yeah.
Because they
Yeah,
need a right,
both.
they need a right tackle. They don't like a lot of people want like a Joe Alt or Talisi Fuega or Troy Fautano to go to 5. My thing is though, Joe Alt is more of a left tackle than I think. I mean, he can play both sides, but he's better at the left side compared to what he is the right side. JC Latham is strict right tackle. Strict. And so it just makes sense, especially because he just came from a zone/power run scheme. It would just make sense, especially with I forgot the coordinator
for
the Chargers. The coordinator's name
I forgot. Yeah,
he was the coordinator with the Ravens. I know somebody's gonna help me out. I keep forgetting because he used to coach the Bills.
Which one? Offensive?
Yeah,
the guy that came. Yeah. I forgot dude's name as well.
Like he's he's the best. He's probably the best run besides him and Arthur Smith. He's probably the best run game coordinator. Yeah. I mean, probably in the league. I just keep forgetting the name, but just based off of their schemes, it's gonna JC Latham it's pretty identical to what Tommy Reese is gonna do. So I don't know if Jim Harbaugh is just gonna get. I don't know how much say or input he's gonna have. Well, he's probably gonna in the offense in charge as far as changing that scheme. But overall wise, no, I can't wait. I think JC is going to 5. Greg Roman, thank you, Greg Roman.
Yeah. Chris from New Jersey has a question. He says, do you think they would take a few pounds off JC? I tell you this, no, I don't, because JC was over 360 during the season. He's about 340 now and lean. He's cut weight. He's put on very, solid weight. He was just talking about that in the diet. That kid is solid, man. No big gut sticking over it. That kid is solid. I think, just like Coach Jay said, I think he's the perfect niche to slide right in at right tackle. And I don't think they're going to take no weight off. I think for the pro game, he fits perfectly.
You are a fool, Kimberly. You are a fool.
Bro, they're not going to forget the joy getting.
Oh, no, man. I've been called extra, like, ultra healing. I've been called Super Saiyan Jurgen. It's been nuts, man. It's been nuts, man. But I did it to myself. No, Kyle did this to me. Because if he never would have had that saying of putting that oil on his back, I would have never done it. So I don't regret it.
Grab that one, Coach Jay.
What we got here? All right, coaches. What room do you think we should look at in the portal? Honestly, you can say tackle, right? I think you can still look at tackle.
Damn, my bad.
Randall Cobb, shout out to you with the 199 super chat. Then Randall Cobb sent another one with the 199 super chat. He says, "How bad is Otis' injury?" I'll answer the first question first. Yeah, I still think tackle is gonna be the main priority. Potentially looking in the portal, only because we just don't know. Like Caden Proctor is gonna be coming in, of course, but how much, when is he going to practice, right? When is he going to practice? What, how much involved is he going to be in the spring window? That's kind of the question there. And then, of course, he's a gigantic tackle and in an offense where you're going to be, you're going to be doing a lot of pin and pull. You're going to be pulling. There's going to be a lot of counters. There's going to be a lot of counters where both the guard and the tackle pull. There's going to be situations where trap happens. Like you have all this, like you got, like it's going to be different from the scheme that we kind of ran with that power slash zone scheme. It's going to be different. So Caden Proctor is going to have to lose weight. So, that's kind of another thing too, is that he's probably going to have to get in the strength and conditioning program. And and just like how Coach Sean said that JC Latham got lean, well, Caden Proctor he's going to have to lose some weight.
Yeah, man.
He might have to lose 20. Because here's the thing, his playing weight was 360.
Yeah.
We don't know how he is in the offseason, especially when you're at Iowa. He could be 370 or 380 for all we know. We don't know.
Yeah.
So we might have to kind of work with him a little bit. just to see if he can drop some of that weight. So he might not be ready. He might not be ready damn near till fall camp. So now the question is, well, what about Elijah Pritchett? What about McVay? What about Alien? What about Formby? Right? What about these guys? Well, we don't know. I mean, the last time we seen Pritchett, he got his ass kicked.
Facts.
You know, and a lot of these other guys were just way too young, even though they have the physical intangibles to being great tackles. You know, they don't really have the experience, you know, for that play. So we honestly don't be surprised if we have to look for another tackle that fits way more into the scheme and has some sort of familiarity with this offense. Don't be surprised by that. I think that's a question mark. I think really the last 3 years, it has been a question mark. And we've seen how it's kind of cost us. I think interior play is great. It's just tackle play that I think I have the biggest question for the season. Otis injury, I'm not too sure of the severity of the injury. I'm going to talk to, or I think Smook will probably let you guys know, but I can try to talk to him about it. I haven't heard anything as serious, so I think that's a good thing about it. But I don't know, Coach Sean, do you have anything about Otis injury?
No, I don't. I know he was having, I think he had surgery, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
Didn't he have surgery?
Mm-hmm.
And you know, the recuperation process always takes a while. Is the fact that they're having it now, you know, it can't be that bad. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think it's going to hinder him in the season. He'll probably miss the spring, but I don't think it's nothing that's going to hinder him in the future. You know, we got a heavy rotation. I don't think it's nothing going to hinder him in the future. Seriously, I don't think it's going to be that bad. Probably something he had to get cleaned up that lingered him during the course of the season. Caden, as far as Caden at tackle, I definitely believe, because here's the thing with tackle, man, and you can tap in with Coach Jay on this as well. Tackle is one of those positions, it's like corner. No matter how much fundamental work you do, you really don't get better until you actually take live reps, right? Scrimmage reps, game reps. Tackle is one of those things where you got to really get in there and mix it up full speed to really get better. It's, you know, fundamental work from the running back position, from the wide receiver position. It translates because the drill you do translates to the actual game. Tackle is one of those things, no matter how much fundamental hand placement, kick slides you do, you got to really get in there and do it, you know, full speed against a decent, especially a tackle, especially a left tackle against a good pass rusher for you to really get better. I've always thought that about tackle. Corner is something like that. Corner is, you got to really get out there and actually play the leverage and play the shoulder leverage, and you got to get out there and do it at corner to actually get better. It's not like running back and wide receiver where the actual drill, I'm trying to think how I'm trying to explain it. The actual drill makes you better, right? The drill makes you better. Tackle is one of those things you can drill all day, man, until you get out there and go one-on-one with that guy full speed. You'll never pick that position up, man, as you see with Caden Proctor throughout the season.
Yeah, and Caden struggled, man. I mean, those first, but that's how important. That's why when you look at spring game, that's, you know, when we talk about the battles inside the trenches, I know a lot of people say, well, spring games don't really show us a lot. Well, yes, in the trenches it does. What you see there is it's literally what you're going to get for the entirety of the season, and that's why people say, like, hey, remember the last 3 years, Bama's edge rushers look amazing, and yes, Will Anderson, Dallas Turner, Chris Braswell, like a lot of these guys look amazing, but honestly, it's a bad sign when your tackles are just getting whipped endlessly. They're just getting whipped.
Thanks.
You know, because, you know, like I said, I mean, this is, you know, like Coach Sean said, it is a position where you need live reps. You need live reps. You know, it is not easy because there are different edge rushers, right? You got guys that simply are amazing with their hand usage. You have guys that simply will use the speed and they'll have like incredible bend to get under you. You'll have guys that simply will just run through you. Like there's different sort of players, and you simply cannot. You can try to study it as much as you can on film, but until you actually have to experience it, it's a different animal. It is a different animal, man. So, it's one of those positions where I genuinely have a concern with. I have more concern about that position than secondary, because in the secondary that's kind of more of an area where you can rely on film, right? Yeah. That's more of a we used to kind of call it, right. That's kind of more of that we call it study break. Right. If you don't really study the film, you're going to get your ass kicked in the secondary. Yeah. Right. It doesn't matter how much your athleticism is. Don't matter how tall you are, how quick, how fast you are, how technical you sound you are. If you don't study, you're going to get your ass kicked. So that's kind of where, now, I mean, you're seeing it now with the NFL, right? The NFL, the reason why they're not really paying safeties or corners that much money is simply because it's a much more teachable, especially when you get to the NFL. It's a lot. They expect you to have a lot of those traits, and then it's just a lot more teachable at that moment. But tackle it's a different beast when you're playing at tackle, and that's why it's a premium position. It's a premium position, and that's why they get paid the most. So, I genuinely have concerns. I genuinely have concerns about tackle if they have another performance, because that's 4 years in a row that the tackles would simply get whipped no matter what, and especially with our first string. And then all of a sudden we're gonna have to have the same questions, and then Coach Sean, you know how this works. For 5 or 6 months, like everyone will talk about how great Alabama is, and then we'll say like, hey, I don't, I'm not gonna be on this train. Look, I'm telling you, we have weaknesses, we have holes. And then we get to the game, and then a team will expose it, and that will happen for almost the entirety of the season. Then we get to a very important game that will end our season, and
Listen, Coach Jay and I can say these two. Smook used to get on us and call us haters, but it wasn't that. It wasn't that. See, I used to pick with Smook and he'll tell you, because Smook is a Bama fan through and through, and sometimes that Bama. Yeah, man. Like, we'll win the game, and the fan will say, "Well, let's just be happy we won the game." And me and Jay were like, "No, because we won the game, but what we see that we done to almost lose the game will get you beat against better competition, right? When you play the team that can exploit you, it will get you beat, right?"
You see
Buck
that?
says, but the O-line has gone against 2 of the top passers coming out of the last 2 drafts. The O-line has gone against the 2 of the top passers.
You talk about Dallas and Will.
Oh, you mean the pass rushers, Buck?
Mm-hmm.
But Buck, we gave up 49 sacks on the year. We made people that's not even talented like Dallas and Chris look like Dallas.
We gave a nickel corner 3.5 sacks against
What's the dude from Arkansas? The Arkansas defensive end?
The Landon Jackson dude who's undrafted. He's an undrafted prospect.
He's terrible. He
tore up Caden Proctor, destroyed him. And he's an undrafted prospect right now. I'm telling you, like, yes, he's going against Will Henderson. He's going against Dallas. For 3 years, our offensive tackles got whipped by them. But it's I'm telling you, you can't just take a look at the quality of edge rusher. You have to take a look at the tackle and what they're doing. And I mean, these tackles didn't even have fundamentals. You didn't see the right fundamentals. They were too slow, too sluggish, and they're just too big, quite frankly.
Yeah.
And Coach, what do you say about Elijah Pritchett? Raw. He was raw last year.
Yeah.
And Caden Proctor, Caden Proctor, they actually had him at guard, and he played well, but you saw how big he was. And how, it's just you can instantly tell that dude when it comes to pass protection sets was not going to be great. He was going to be great in run support. It's going to be phenomenal. But in pass protection and pass sets, he was not going to do well. So it's like these spring games, there are certain battles that will translate to what's going to happen in the season. It doesn't matter how much practice you do. There's just nothing you can do. Tackle is one of those things where it is very, very hard to get better quickly.
Yes,
it's very, very slow. Once you're not good at it, it takes a long time, man. Not easy.
It does. Left tackle is a very difficult position to play, man. When you're young, especially because these kids come out of high school and they're 5-star kids and they're great. But you got to remember, coming out of high school, it's like I said a while ago, a lot of the time, especially coming from Iowa, a lot of the times Caden was just bigger and stronger than his opponent, like probably 99% of the time. When you get to the SEC, man, it's guys who are as fast as running backs playing outside linebacker, right? It's guys who are big and strong. These guys can bench 225, 15, 20 times. You can't just rely on your athleticism. You can't just be bigger than everybody and lean on everybody. You got to have some technique These guys have double moves they can hit you with. You stop one move, they counter with another. Like, you got to really, really, really be good to play left tackle in space. And Caden's going to be great. Don't get me wrong. Caden Parker is going to be, what me and Jay told you. Me, Jay, Coach Smoot, we all told you. Get a kid time. If you look at him and you really analyze him, toward the middle of the season, his sacks were not as many as it was in the beginning of the season, right? Toward the back end of the season, Caden started playing well. He had games where he gave up 1 sack, sometimes none. Caden got better, but that layoff from the Michigan game, from the SEC championship to Michigan, I think the layoff, man, I think it hurt everybody. It's sort of like our entire line rescinded. So like I don't know what the hell happened, but we didn't look good in any facet, and the coaches didn't help us out either. All of them, all of them. I mean, all of them. They didn't help us out at all either. So that's just one of those positions, guys, where you got to really, like Coach Jay said, you got to really play it. You got to really let it play out. It takes time. It takes chemistry, and you just got to let it play out, guys. On another note, I read an article, Coach Jay, where they were introducing, and now this is something I am excited about. I'm not a defensive guy, but I am excited about the talent that we have coming in to seeing these guys play. I want to see them play before I crown them the next best class in the world. But if you got to start off somewhere, this is where I'd like to start. Coach Jay, what do you think about this? The first kid, Justin Okoronkwo from Munich, Germany.
Yeah, Munich, Germany.
6'3", 215. What you think about that kid? Where he's gonna be? He's gonna be the Sting. He's gonna be the Wolf.
I can see him as a Wolf. I think he can play as a Wolf. I think he can play more as a Wolf type guy. Justin's interesting because when you're coming, because that they're coming from that developmental program where man, I mean, Germany's got some freakish kids, guys. They have a lot of freakish athletes, and unfortunately for them, the freakish athletes are playing hockey. Because their first sport they want to play soccer. That's their first sport, but then they get denied it. So because they don't have the frame, right? They don't have they want guys that are 160, 170, not big dudes. The big dudes have to play hockey or football now. So, but no, Justin kind of comes from that program, and he's again 6'3", 215. Probably, I mean, by the end of his career, he's probably going to be 225. He is fast. He's a hell of an athlete. I think it's going to take some time. All right. I think it's going to take some time to really understand understand terminology, to really understand his role and to really understand the schematics of what Kane Womack wants to kind of do. I think it's going to take some time, right, with him. I think very similar to Olis. It might take year 2. And it's no disrespect to him. That's literally all international players that have come from high school, that have translated from these developmental programs, because they don't even really go to the high schools. They come from developmental programs, and they make the translation, right? Some people go to IMG Academy. I know there was a one dude, he was like 6'8", 400 pounds, ended up going to Minnesota, and he became a 3rd round pick. He didn't start until his 3rd year. So that's all international players. So, but I'm excited to see what this kid can do in the future. He could make an impact. He can prove me wrong. But Justin is definitely a player to kind of look out for. Definitely kind of keep a name in mind, because he definitely. I mean, hell, the kid's an athlete. He's probably one of the best athletes on the team.
Okay. Next we got Caden Jones. This kid is 6'4", 210. Played some in the secondary. Actually played in the secondary, and he played linebacker out of Arden, North Carolina. What do you think about this kid?
Yeah, I like.
They run a 4.5 too. He runs a 4.5 in the 40.
I love his versatility. Yeah, he played all over the place in the secondary. He plays as a free, plays as strong. They had him some in the nickel, but he's more of a box guy. I think he's probably much more of a box guy that can play definitely as like either a Wolf or a Sting. I like Caden. I like him a lot. I love his overall versatility, because I think that fits perfectly into what a linebacker in this DeBoer defense wants to do, and that's getting guys that have rank, that are technically sound, that are extremely rangy, right? I think he falls in that Jefferson type of role, right? As far as guys that are quick, fast. Remember the kid we tried to recruit from South Florida, from South Alabama. How he was supposed to kind of transfer in. He fits more of that mold. Not the biggest frame type of guy. I think he can pack on some weight, but he's more of that caliber of player that we tried to get, where that dude can cover that he can cover the Y, We've seen him kind of cover some slot guys before as well. He's a versatile package. He's a versatile package type of player, and that's a kid to definitely watch out for too.
Okay, we got Quentin QB Reese. This kid straight from Birmingham. Kid is 6'1", 205. Kid found out the kid didn't camp. You know what I mean? I found out he attended one camp, and it was a small camp. A lot of people don't know about this kid for real outside of the normal huddle tape. Even the recruiting services didn't have a lot on him, right? What do you think about this kid?
You know, it's funny. Actually, you know, somebody had a funny comparison from somebody. You and Coach On, you know this player. Somebody compared him to Quan. They compared him to Quan Alexander just based off of what Quan was when he kind of came out. And you know, similar weight, man. He was around this weight. But yeah,
Oxford. Yeah, Oxford, Alabama.
Yeah, but Quinn, man, Quinn is he's rangy, quick. I'm going to use that word a lot because a lot of these linebackers are small. Like if Nick Saban was to recruit these guys, these dudes, I don't even know if they would play as a linebacker. They'll probably be playing either as a safety. Translating the quarter, right? Yeah. He loves those tall corners. But they're 205 type of guy. I don't know what he's going to do his freshman year. He actually might redshirt. That's a big possibility. But this is a guy where, again, you want to pack something on for him. He'll probably be 215, maybe even 220 by the time he's ready to go. But yeah, man, I think even though he was rated as a 3-star, out of all the linebackers, I think he has the best pure instincts.
Yeah,
I think he's the most natural compared to Justin, compared to Caden, who's more versatile. He has the best natural instincts as far as playing as a linebacker in this class.
Next, one of my favorites, who I like this kid on film, Sterling Dixon. This kid is 6'3", 215, 4-star out of Spanish Fort, Alabama. What do you think about this kid? Had shoulder surgery. Now he's healthy.
Best athlete.
Yeah.
Best athlete on the team. I don't know where you're going to play him, honestly.
Facts,
I don't know where you're going to play him. He's the best athlete on the team.
All right. And next, now this guy is kind of interesting. Steve Mbumoa. I'm hoping I don't butcher this kid's last name. It's Mboumua. I think it's Mbumoa or something similar to that. Kid's a defensive lineman. Kid's 6'4", 265, and is a 4-star kid out of Quebec, Canada.
Oh, Quebec. So he's French.
Yeah, French it's crazy. But he's from Cameroon. He's from Cameroon, though.
Cameroon, yeah. So that makes sense. I mean, Cameroon speaks French, so that you know, anyone that knows about Cameroon, you know how they get is French.
So he was played on the interior, and I guess he played the 3 and the 5 technique, I suppose.
Okay, so yeah, this is a kid I think is a little bit unknown for me.
Yeah, me too.
I love his versatility. I like that you say that he played as a 3 or a 5.
Mm-hmm.
So I love that. I love that sort of versatility. He is 265, so it's kind of like Hunter Osborne as far as like what his build was when he came out of high school.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see. I'm excited for that. I'm excited for him by a little bit, but yeah, I think I love his versatility so far for what you mentioned.
And finally, now this kid is, you know, they said if you get this kid's motor to work the whole time, he'll be the best of all of them. It's just his motor. Jayshon Ross. This kid is 6'4", 225. 4-star edge out of Kansas City, Missouri. Now, I've seen tape of this kid where he's going, like, you can't block him. 17 sacks, you can't block him. But others where he sort of lose interest. You know, he played in a smaller A, dominating everybody, so he sort of lose interest. What do you think about this kid, Coach Jay?
Long-limbed.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got some nasty physical intangibles. Where if you can coach him up and he knows how to really use those, and he knows how to use those arms. He's got big hands too. If he knows how to use his arm and the legs, he's gonna be dangerous. It's gonna be a very, very dangerous kid. I like how he can bend. Love his overall natural bend. I know Brandon was saying that the kid from Quebec was same size as Francis Ngannou. Yeah, he actually is the same size as Francis Ngannou. He's not as built as him, but he's the same size. Yeah, he is.
Wow, that's crazy, man. And I read what he now his motor. If Jayshon Ross had Steve MB. If he had Steve MB's motor, they said this kid from Cameroon's motor don't stop. Like that's what got him the scholarship. Kid chasing down running backs and all type of stuff from the defensive line. So that's amazing, bro. For me, man, I can't tell you how excited I'm. Like when I talk to all my people who are not Alabama fans, they enhance my excitement because Coach Jay, their worry about Alabama excites me because that tells me that the ops are watching, right? They're watching. So I get excited when I hear Tennessee fans and Texas A&M fans of friends I have. Man, y'all recruiting ain't fell off, man. What's going on? Y'all paying player? No. So they're watching. They're seeing what we're doing, and they're concerned. They're concerned. That's a whole fact. And these are guys I talk to, so you better believe they voice the sentiment of their fan base. They're concerned. They see that the recruiting has not fell off. They see that the recruiting, while taking a different direction, is recruiting for what this coaching staff needs with this defense. So I couldn't be more excited about that part, right? I don't think it could be any better than it is now. And I'm extremely excited to see some real clacking going on in this scrimmage game. What about you, Coach Jay?
Yeah, I'm excited for it. And yes, I know somebody asked a question about whether media is allowed. Yeah, I think this is actually open for a lot of the media. Coach Mook will be. I think Coach Mook and Kyle will be going there. So we will definitely. We're going to keep you covered. We're going to keep you covered with all the information. Well, of course, we'll probably. Coach Mook will probably record some footage, just to show to you guys as well. So yeah, you guys definitely want to stay tuned. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm excited to see these helmets and the pads kind of go on, and we start hearing some click clacks. I'm most very curious. I'm literally gonna ask this to Coach Mook once this thing's over. I'm gonna ask him what's going on in the interior, who won that battle, and if I hear defense, I'm concerned. If I hear offense, then I'm gonna be happy. Because I'm telling you right now, that was last year how the defense just kept whipping on the offensive line almost every single scrimmage, and it was concerning. It was genuinely concerning, and we saw that played out in the season. So we'll see. Now that's something I'm very curious to see what happens. Oh, you muted, Coach.
Thank you, Coach Jay. Shout out to Randall. Randall, this is Old Orchard Health Balance Cranberry Juice. Zero sugars.
Yeah, I know it's a hangover drink.
Yeah, man. So it was almost gone. So I went on and decided to take it out. Since they won't be sharing this with nobody anymore, this will be taken out by Coach Sean and get the juices going. Can't do that sugar, right? Yeah, I'm likewise with me too, Coach Jay. This is when I'll start getting. What's up, Janet? I ain't see you. What's up, Janet? Much love to Janet Forsyth. You know what I mean? For me, this is when you'll get Coach Sean on his soapboxes. I get excited about the recruiting. I mean, of course, because recruiting is the lifeblood. Without that, you'll probably suck. I won't say you'll suck. You won't win a championship. You'll be Clemson, So you got to have the recruiting. We all know that. You got to have the Jimmys and the Joes, right? That goes without saying. But you'll start seeing me click my heels when like right now, when the clacking going on. Who's dominating? Just like Coach Jay said, who's dominating on the interior, right? Hey, I feel you, Randall. Hey, that's the only way to go, brother. Who's dominating, right? And another big question: who's at the other corner opposite Damani Jackson?
Well, yeah,
I want to know that. At first I heard Jaleel, but now I'm hearing a lot about Xavier Brown, right? And I've seen a lot of footage of Xavier Mincy, so I don't know who's there, but I just like to record that I've been on Xavier Brown from the jump, right?
I love Xavier Brown.
I don't know if he's the best corner, but he's damn sure the most technical sound.
He's the most ready. I'm telling you, coming out of high school, he's the most ready out of all of them.
That's a whole fact, man. Leverage.
Kids are taught.
Yeah, man. All the little finer points of playing corner, man. Coverages, how to play shoulders, which shoulder, outside, inside, everything. This kid, how to play zone in college football, how to play man in college football. This kid, he coming from modern day, nothing you throw at him is going to be too big. Now, it might be better athletes out there. You know what I mean? Xavier Mincy might be a better athlete. I'm not sure if he's going to play corner or safety. Xavier Mincy probably 6'1", 6'2", something like that. Tall kid, athletic kid. But Jaleel Hurley, again, 6'2". This kid was a 5-star athlete coming out of Florence High School, right here in Florence, Alabama. So it's going to be exciting. The money will be the leader in that room as far as corners go. I'm excited to see what's going to be their combination of safeties, of weak safety, strong safety, rover, whatever you want to call it. Is it going to be Keon Sabb? Is it going to be Devontae Smith and Malachi? Like Tony Mitchell? You know,
Yeah.
how are you going to mix those guys in? So that's going to be very, very interesting. And that's what I want to see. Which guys have earned the right to go out there first?
Right. And these scrimmages, I'm telling you, all these scrimmages are going to be telling, because we talk about who we're going to receive in that portal, but we never talk about who's going to leave. And you know how these kids are nowadays, man. It's sometimes they know when they're fighting a losing battle, or what they presume is to be a losing battle, and then they just leave. And then all of a sudden we have to focus on trying to build up depth and other particular areas where we think we didn't need to do that. So I think it's going to be real telling. I think these battles are going to be very, very telling to see who are going to be the guys going to fall camp.
Yeah. Here's a good question. Where do you play Malachi Moore at? Is he going to be your Husky, or is he going to be your regular free safety? Like where is he going to play at? Where's Malachi going to play at? Because to my knowledge in this 4, and I understand it's not a lot of difference. I get it. 3-4, 4-3, nickel, I get it. I get it. But in some aspects, it's like I talked when I was going back and forth with George Teague's channel. They agreed with me. Yes, for alignment purposes, it's not different, right? For alignment purposes. But in some instances, Coach Jay, you know how you can mix these things up however you want. It will be a little different in some aspect of let's just say Husky, right? In this defense, and you correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not the defensive guy, but the Husky is like your overhang guy, supposedly. So that means the Husky's gonna have to be able to tackle. He's gonna have to be somebody that can tackle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much. He can't be a weak tackler, in other words.
Yeah. Kind of a weak tackler. I think that's kind of that. That's why I think he's probably going to play Husky, because he's probably last year I thought he was the best tackler on the team. I thought him.
That's where I was going. Yeah, that's where I was going with it.
So,
that's where I was going.
The question about, I think, with him is that when you play on Husky, he also has to play like a lot of, And again, I have to take a look. I got to take a look deeper into Kane Womack, because this is just base. Yeah. This is base specific. I have to take a look. How many times did he run man?
How many run man? Right.
That type of position have helped. It's just, that's kind of one of the biggest questions I have there. But Moore struggled in man. He got tore up a lot. He plays a lot comfortable when he either has some bracket help over the top, or he's just playing in zone where he can just cover the flat, or you bring him down the hook. I mean, he's that's where he's good at, right? He's a ball hawk. He's very instinctive, but the dude is not good in man. He gets tore up. So that's kind of the biggest question I have there. But he's probably the best tackler on the team right now, and that's a position where he's more familiar with. Yeah. And so I don't know. We'll see. But if I had to guess, I would say Husky.
Okay, that's where I was going. I know when I do my research on this defense, and obviously I did a breakdown of what I thought, in my opinion, when you comparing 4-2-5s, 3-4s, nickels, it's just in a lot of times it's whatever the hell you call those guys, outside linebackers or DNs. It's just handing the dirt or standing up. It's how you want to mix and match them. You know what I mean? And we played so much nickel last year, but the one thing I don't want is somebody like Keon. What's his name? Keon. The D lineman we got, the outside lineman, Keon Keeley. Like in a 3-4, if he's playing, because I think he was playing outside linebacker, he wasn't playing on the defense. I don't want to see Keon covering nobody.
No. I don't. You want that. You want that dude. You want that dude's hand on the ground.
Facts.
You want him getting out. You can still you can widen him out a little bit, right? He's not going to play 5, but you can widen him out a little bit. Yeah. And that's what he does.
Yeah.
you don't want to drop him back. He's too tall and he's too stiff for that.
Too tall, too stiff for that. Facts. So I don't want to see this guy trying to drop back in no zone, cover nobody. You know what I'm saying? So I agree with putting his hand in the dirt, letting him go get the quarterback, letting them play the run straight up. I think he'll get better and do that. So it's going to be interesting, man. Everybody's going to have a lot of questions for this scrimmage. I'm sure they're going to bombard all the coaches with hella scrimmages. But if you had to pick one position, Coach Jay, one position out of all the positions, not, as a whole, like all the corners or secondary, linebackers, all the positions, quarterbacks, receivers, what position group would be the number one thing that you want to see Saturday?
Quarterback. Today? Yeah, I want to see quarterback. I have to see what Jalen Miro does from his cadence. Yeah. Those who don't know me, like when he gets in the line of scrimmage and if he's changing up certain plays, if he's canceling out, just his overall knowledge of the offense in order to put this team in the right position. That's what I kind of want to see with his cadence. I want to see his pocket presence. I think that's big. Right? We've seen him at times be a little inconsistent with his pocket presence where he would kind of not step up at times. There were other areas where he simply would kind of rush his decision. I want to see his going through his overall reads or progressions. I want to see more consistency on not just on being accurate when it comes to throwing outside the hashes. We all know how good his deep accuracy actually is, but sometimes it could be a little deceptive at times, right? Because a lot of that was simply that's the first read, and that first read was able to get open, and he was able to kind of throw it perfectly. But there were other times where, and maybe that this is not more so of his accuracy. This is pretty much just his overall, just his overall presence when he's in that pocket. Is that there were times where you had Jermaine Burton and Isaiah Bond wide open, and because he hooked to that first read, he was. By the time he switched off and he's trying to look for another receiver, it was already too late. It's already too late because of just the amount of time that he was just stuck trailing on that first read. So I want to see just overall his progressions, his reads, his cadence, his accuracy when it comes to those short to intermediate type throws. That's got to get better, and I think that has been gotten better so far. And yeah, I think this is a offense that relies solely on timing. This is a time-based offense that does not fool around. So Jalen has been the starter. Kalen DeBoer said it. He's been the starter all spring, and I will say this: if Jalen Miro starts to have a couple, if he starts putting together some bad spring games, and Ty Simpson or Dylan Lonergan starts to package it up, DeBoer is not afraid to bench him. He's not afraid to do it. He's not afraid to pull the trigger. So I hope Jalen Miro does it because I think he has the most upside out of any player, honestly, in the country. I think if you take a look at Jaden Daniels and you saw how effective, if you can just be patient with him as a pocket passer, and if you can just find a way to really develop his game within the offense, you kind of see what a player of that caliber can do. And so that's why I think Jalen Miro can be. And this is good. This is pretty much, it has to be the start of this has got to be the start. This has got to be the start if he wants to not only just be the starting quarterback, but if he wants to really go ahead and take this team to new heights, he's got to be able to kind of step up in that role.
Facts. For me, it's the offensive line. Even Tyler Booker and Jaden Roberts, even them. I need to see how they look going against the defensive front. I want to see the offensive line, man, because for 3 years, we've had a shaky offensive line. And we've still done well, and at times the offensive line has been the reason we had a lot of problems. I personally think even when the offensive line played well in the Texas game, Jalen had received so much pressure, he got happy feet and was releasing the ball too soon. Demetrius Dugan says, are we solid at right tackle? Knowing that Proctor is coming back, we at least have an option. Can our other tackles handle our front? Because it's one of the best fronts that we'll play. I mean, just in my humble opinion, I'm a little different. I hear some of the coaches. I'm a little different, bro. I hear about how I watch the film and how good Wilkin, and shout out to Desi 0619 with a $5 super chat. Any word on Keon Keeley? Let me get this one question, Desi, and I'll hop right back. I'll let Coach Jay hop right back to you. For me, man, I see the workout videos with Miles and Wilkin, and I love the workout videos. That's what you want to see your young kids doing. But respectfully, this is just Coach Sean. This don't make it right. This is just my humble opinion, which doesn't make it right. I don't give a damn about no workout video. I don't care about how much tennis balls you can catch. I don't care about none of that. I watched Elijah Pritchett do that same stuff. Until I see you line up at right tackle and not get ran by, I'll be on this horse. I respect it. Don't get me wrong. I love it. I love it. That's what you want from your young guys, right? These guys played in the system last year. I think Wilkin Formby is going to be a force. I think Miles McVay is going to be a force, but I got to see it. I have Coach Sean got to see it because I know lining up out there at right tackle and you got Keon Keeley bearing down on you or whichever flip-flop side they got. You got Yanze Pierre bearing down on you. Whoever it is, it's a different story. You know, it's a different story than blocking pads and tennis balls and all that. I need to see you do it in the game, right? I need to see you do it in the game, brother, and I'll be able to tell you because right now I just don't know. To be honest, I don't know. Go ahead, Coach Jay, with the super chat.
Yeah, pretty much with Keon Keeley. He's been. We know that he's kind of been in and out of the rotation. He's been kind of working with some of the first team, some of the second team as well. He's a very interesting player because I think he did play in the scheme when he was playing in Tampa when he was in high school. So he has some sort of familiarity with his defense. Again, I wouldn't really like him as a 3-4 outside linebacker, even though for the most part we actually played a lot more with our hand on the ground compared to simply just playing as a 2-point stance. So that was Keeley. That's a big reason why I think he committed in the first place was because I thought that we started to see the a different direction of what this defense was heading towards. But yeah, Keeley has again you're talking about a player who's 6'5", he's 260 pounds. You'll get long wingspan, long reach. A guy that if he could just put it all together, that kid's going to be a stud, right? So he was a 5-star free. As a matter of fact, I think he was the number one player. I think during the 24/7 Sports Composite.
Yeah.
So he's got it all. And he honestly doesn't really have that much competition besides experience. So he has a clear-cut opportunity for him to take the job, and I'm excited to see what he can do.
All facts. Shout out to Sweet Home Bama. You already know. Shout out to Janet Forsyth. You already know. It was a question Merrill had said that they was talking about the offense. We sort of did a quick analogy on what this offense brings, and that's another reason why we're so interested in the scrimmage. And I talked about how when I watched these guys, I got locked on that Texas game and the Oregon game, the first Oregon game. I even watched the second Oregon game, but not the whole thing. And I just my humble opinion, I told you I was intrigued by the run scheme. I was intrigued by that. When I would go back, I would see a play, I would write it down, go back, look at it, and the complexity of that run game. And I was saying really quickly, and Coach Jay can chime in on this, based off their run complexity, the misdirection and the athleticism of the offensive lineman. I talked about how I seen these guys run counter in a variety of ways. I talked about, I seen them run counter with the guard and the tight end. I seen them run counter with the guard and the tackle. I seen them even run counter with the center and the tackle. So all these guys do, when they run their misdirection, pin and pull, like I said, they even run trap with this type of stuff. Mm-hmm. And that's just a lot of stuff we didn't do. I don't ever remember Seth in a abundance of plays pulling or doing any type of even in our zone scheme, I don't remember Seth being the center peeling back to pick up nobody. I don't remember that.
It was just straight up, just downhill.
Yeah.
Up with the combo block. It was it was getting torched.
Yeah, man. I don't remember any of that, man. And so this is gonna be different. And I talked about how in these type offenses, what used to give us problems, you unless you're Aaron Donaldson or Quentin Williams, you really just can't penetrate like that against these type of offenses that's constantly, shifting and pre-snap motioning and then motioning back. And then, you just can't really penetrate because you'll mess around and take yourself out of the play. You know what I mean? Trying to penetrate on something that your eyes show you, right? And next thing you know, you're out of the play. You've taken yourself out of the play based off some window dressing that they shown you. So what do you think about that, Coach Jay?
Yep. I mean, like I said, these offensive linemen, man, they're losing weight. They're not gaining it. They're getting a lot more leaner. They're getting a lot more faster. They're trying to get quicker. They're trying to get faster. There's going to be a lot of these guys. These guys will be running around the field. They're going to be running around doing a lot of unusual things that they honestly haven't done with Bama. And so this is why I hated the what did they call it last year with the offensive line?
What's that?
They called it. It was something with like everybody was like bulking up, and they were saying that they were going to bring back.
Yeah, I remember that. It had a little slogan.
They tried it. I hated that. I hated that so much because I'm like, no, I don't want to go back to that. I don't. Yeah. I mean, yes, it'll be great to have a nasty. Somebody in the comments, they'll tell me. But yeah, it'll be great to have a nasty offensive line. But look at the they were overweight, guys. They were overweight, Buck. They were overweight. They were way overweight. I mean, Proctor was
murder. That's it. Murder ball. That's it.
Murder ball. Yeah.
Murder ball.
I hated that with the offensive. I hated that because I'm like, okay, so we're gonna go back to what we did in 2009 and 2010. We had old school terminology, and we had.
Well, to be honest, Coach Jay, we can be honest now. The season was last year's over. We at that time we didn't have murder ball running backs.
We didn't. Like how do you have murder ball? And there was not one Trent, not one Eddie Lacy,
not one Derrick Henry.
You didn't even have a 207-pound Glenn Coffey. You didn't have that Glenn Coffey.
Or B-Rob. Or
Kenneth Darby. You had none of that.
Yeah.
You had no. It was. I mean, you had running like Rodale was downhill, but he wasn't big.
Wasn't big, right?
Was again downhill and he's tough, and I think he's actually one of the best athletes on the team. Yeah. But he's not. He didn't bring that physics. He's not Brian Robinson, right? He's not one of those guys. So I don't know. The murder ball terminology. I'm like, okay, so we're about to do something that we're not even built for yet. Yeah, we're not even built for it yet. So we'll see how it happens, and it ended up kind of backfiring us at times.
And I will say this: when I watched the offensive line practice last year, some of the blocking schemes that we're practicing on were finesse blocking schemes. But I'm like, well, how are we going?
Are we running a zone scheme and we're trying to bring murder ball? How does that work?
Man, I've been asking that question for a year. Like, what the hell? So I don't know, brother. You know what I mean? That's a good question, Demetrius. That's a good. People don't realize. That's a good statement. People don't realize it, but Michigan beat us with that style of pin and pull of pulling offensive linemen. Yeah, Coach Jay talked about that before the game.
Yep. Me and Coach Sean talked about it. Yep. We talked about it, bro. They're gonna run a lot of pin and pull. Look what they're gonna do with the tight ends as far as RPO sets. They have specific. I mean, I'm telling you, they run a lot of trap. They run a lot of counters, a lot of misdirection. I'm like, dude, this is a very complex runs game. And look at what we do. It's just bland, nothing creative.
Super bland,
just bland. And I'm like, dude, why do you think Michigan won? It was actually easy for them. It was it was going to be a harder matchup if Washington played Michigan than us. Because with us, it's simple. Ohio State runs the same crap. Penn State runs the same crap. They've already gone against similar teams that do the same thing we do. But no, everybody kept just drinking off the Georgia Kool-Aid because everybody just kept drinking off of that because we beat them. But I'm like, dude, Michigan and Georgia, they're completely different teams.
Yeah.
Yes, they don't have explosive offenses, but they're just different. Their schemes are different, and we haven't seen anything like this. Which, again, we're not going to see anything like this, and that's why Michigan's defensive line did what they did to us. We couldn't handle their stunts. Something that, by the way, I have no idea why Georgia didn't do the things that Tennessee and that the other teams really did. I mean, Michigan they went back and just watched the earlier film and said, okay, this is what gives Alabama the most trouble. The newer offensive line wasn't athletic. We're just going to destroy them because we can kill them speed. Yeah, egotism.
Kirby thought he could just. Kirby thought he could do it to Bama what he did to everybody else. It didn't work like that. That I couldn't have said that better, man. You can definitely tell from film study that Michigan went back and watched our week games because they saw they done. They didn't do nothing special. They just done. Well, they did what I would have done if I played Alabama. You know what I mean? And
they were confused. They didn't know what to do. They didn't know what to do. It only hurt more that we lost, and they just outmanned us. They outpowered us. They did whatever they wanted to do. They wanted to.
I'll tell you this, and I can tell you this now. The game is over. I can be honest. I ain't gonna say I thought we was gonna lose, but I felt sort of bad. Usually, my feeling be right, bro. It was a 3rd and 2. No, it was 3rd and 4. We were in a shotgun. They dropped Jalen back. He rolls out. He gets all the way to the sideline and then throw it out of bounds. Nobody was open. And when you look at the routes, everybody ran like these 10-yard stem routes, turn around. Nobody was open. It was no challenging route whatsoever. Everybody ran the same route. And nobody there for him to throw it to. He couldn't take off because they was spying him, just waiting for him to take off running. And he got to the sideline and just threw it out of bounds. You know what I mean? Sort of threw it forward out of bounds. Then we punted. I was like, what in the at that point, I knew Tommy Rees was, as the game go on, you can tell if the offensive coordinator is behind or the defensive coordinator is in behind. You can tell who has a feeling, or what's the word for it? You can tell who's comfortable, right? Tommy was from behind the 8 ball. Yeah,
from the first snap of the game, they were comfortable.
That's a
they
fact.
were comfortable. They just did whatever they wanted to do, man. It was just easy for them.
I knew then, bro. And I'm gonna tell you something else. I knew that this team was more about rotation than it was about winning. They put Justice Haynes in the game. You could clearly see Michigan hadn't practiced for Justice. You could clearly see they hadn't watched any film on his tendencies. How does he like to run? You could clearly see they wasn't ready for Justice Haynes, right? We threw a curveball in there to him, right? The defensive line didn't have a feel of his running style, right? That straight line running style, that's what they were used to. Let me play my gap honest and let me play my half a gap, my man honest. Justice was a jump cutting, boom, hitting creases. He was killing them. Justice was picking up 5 or 6 yards of carry in that game. You know what we done? Pull him out.
And put 2 straight line runners in the game for the entirety. It made no sense.
Made no sense, bro.
And this is why I'm saying, man, I love Nick Saban to death, but come on, what do you I know Nick Saban has the authority to put players in the game. I know
Coach start getting loyal, man. Coach start getting loyal to players. Dude, if you think I'm lying, go back and watch the Tennessee game that we lost. If DeMarco Helms, that scheme we were playing was not helping DeMarco Helms at all, right? Now, either coach was just being loyal to him or we just didn't have nobody better because they picked on him. They clearly watched the film on DeMarco at that point in time and knew he's a great safety, but he don't cover deep very well in one-on-one situations, right? They purposefully took, what was his name, Hyatt, put him in the slot and picked on the safety.
Everybody out outside the hashes.
Yep.
Brought Jalen Hyatt only for him to be alone with him.
That's a fact.
Boom, just ran a straight go.
5 touchdowns.
Right up the seam.
Yep.
Nothing was over. 4 touchdowns.
He ran right by DeMarco, respectfully. He ran right by him 4 of the 5 times. They tried to switch it up, put Malachi in there in the last one, right? They switched up and put Malachi. Malachi got burnt too. So it's like stuff like that.
It was the easiest game I've ever seen Josh Heupel coach. Yep. Because it was like everyone's like, damn. Like we made Jalen Hyatt a first round. We almost made Jalen Hyatt a first round pick, guys.
Yeah.
He almost went in the first round because of that game. Because he had 4 touchdowns, almost 300 yards receiving, and all of the routes were just up the seam. Yep. He didn't ran anything special. He ran 2 routes the entire game.
Ran right by him. Just foot speed. DeMarco stayed in phase too long. He tried to turn around and run with him, and it was over. It was over, bro. And what was funny? I'm sorry. 5 touchdowns. I'm sorry. I thought it was 4. I stand corrected. 5. Look, after the game, this was weeks. This is maybe 2 weeks after the game. They interviewed the Hyatt kid. I think the interview should still be on YouTube, obviously. Mm-hmm. He said what I thought the whole time. He was like, well, coach said, let's just run this. And if they'll adjust, we'll go back to blah, 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 blah. They never adjusted. You know what I'm saying? Like we went back out there and played the exact same defense. They caught DeMarco by himself, run it again. You know what I mean? Hell, they still ain't adjusted. Let's just run it again. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that was very sick. That game stick out to my brain, bro, because I told you, the undefeated understands that Tennessee game was, I don't get upset at games like that to where I'm just tore up for days and weeks. That game mentally took something from me, bro. I don't like Tennessee, man. I can't stress to y'all enough. I dislike the Vols. I can't stress that enough to the undefeated, man. You know what I mean? For us to lose that game and to see all them dudes playing that god awful song, that rocky, oh my God, just watching them storm the field and tear the goal down like a bunch of damn dipsticks and take the goal from the stadium to God knows where, right? Man, I can't take that no more, bro. I can't take that no more because
That
I
was the
become
worst game, I think, from a defensive standpoint I have ever seen. And we've let teams score 40 points. Nothing like that. That was the easiest game any team has ever had against our defense. Because
the flip side.
What?
The flip side is that might have been Bryce's best offensive game.
Oh my God, he worked that game. The fact that Bryce worked the entire game. The offensive line was getting their ass kicked because I remember Byron Young in that game was torching. I think it was it might have been Tyler. I think it might have been Tyler coming up. Yeah, I think it was Tyler Steen, just kicking his ass off the edge.
Yep.
To a point where they were running an odd man front and they were just destroying it. It was ridiculous. And Bryce
targeting call that wasn't targeting.
Right, the targeting call that was supposed to be targeting. And these were again, we all know the receiving concepts were terrible. Everybody's running the same route.
Yeah, man.
And Bryce is he's making things out of nothing. Yep. And then Jahmyr Gibbs dropped a wide open pass on a Texas route.
Bro, I can remember this like it was yesterday. I had a cup of ice and I had drunk my juice and it was a cup of ice. The game was about to be over if the undefeated remember. Kool-Aid didn't even touch the dude for real. Kool-Aid hands was up. They called pass in the game was that was the last play of the game. The game was over. We got the ball back, kneeled, we leaving. They called pass interference on Kool-Aid. I was like, he didn't even fucking touch him.
The flag came in 2 minutes after the play was over. Our offense on the field when they threw the flag in.
I threw my cup. They gave him another chance, and
I'm like, wow, bro. I mean, we had opportunity to win that game, though. I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs, when he dropped that pass in that open Texas route, I'm like, no. Jahmyr Gibbs, we ran that play 4 times, and all 4 times were on perfection. We ran that play again. Gibbs is there. If Gibbs catches that pass, that's a first down, and that went from being a 48 or 49 yard field goal to being a 30-something yard field goal.
Yeah.
If we would have just caught the pass.
We miss our field goal. They hit theirs. But when they call that pass interference, man, I knew then they're not going to let us leave here with a win. They're not.
They marched down the field in 7 seconds.
7 seconds.
Got in field goal range. They 40 yards in 7 seconds.
Yep.
I run the same play that killed us the entire day. I mean, you just, oh boy.
And Will, I love Will Anderson. Love him, right? But I'm an old school dude, bro. He probably didn't even mean it this way, but I got pissed off about it, bro. Because I just don't, I was mad at Will. I was mad that we lost to Tennessee. And my anger he was like, well, we had a little anxiety. Anxiety?
Oh my God. Yeah, the anxiety.
What? Coach was asking them when they come out the tunnel. This is what Coach Saban said on his Thursday night show. He said, we come out the tunnel. Usually they chanting, everybody hype. He said they was quiet as a mouse. And he asked them like, hey man, what's up with this? What's wrong with y'all? So when nobody chanting, they were just walking out nice and quiet. They was scared, bro, shook. I challenge everybody in the undefeated right now. When you get off this live, I challenge you to Google this on you, not Google it, but go to YouTube and type in Alabama versus Notre Dame 2011. No, type in Alabama's entrance. Yeah, type in Alabama entrance versus Notre Dame. You even got to put a year. Alabama
they were just walking by Notre Dame players and they're just cussing out, shouting at them.
Look at how they used to be. Look, the Bama players coming out screaming at their ass. Notre Dame standing there like, we got to play them. You know what I'm saying? That's what we used to do at Bama. Now we come out with our head down, walking. Ain't nobody saying nothing. YouTube, Alabama's entrance versus Notre Dame. And look at that. I'm telling you, it's going to make the hair on your arm stand up, bro. It is. So that Tennessee game for me is a sore spot. I don't like Tennessee.
No,
Man.
but that summed up perfectly Bryce Young's year.
Yeah.
It summed it up perfectly, where he simply was the offense. He was the team. He was the team.
Yeah.
And
That's a whole fact. You let a team hang around. That's a fact, Demetrius. So, Coach Jay, I believe it's time for me to go feed the old tummy, man. You know? Is anybody coming on after us? Or we close it out?
No, I think we're just closing out. I don't think anybody comes after us.
Okay, cool. So listen, man. Shout out to the undefeated, bro. You know, you guys are absolutely awesome as usual. I hope all you guys enjoy your Saturday, man. Kick back, do something. I think I'm about to take my daughter to Cracker Barrel and about to get me some grits. Yeah, I said grits with some butter in it. You know what I mean? Salute to you, Buck, Nicole Covington, all y'all, man. Love you guys to death. You know me, I speak with Coach Jay when I say you guys are absolutely. Hey, Demetrius, don't forget to look at that, man. Don't forget, Janet. I need for y'all to go look at Alabama's entrance versus Notre Dame. They got like 3 or 4 different videos of it. Watch that, Alabama.
LSU, and they're just yelling and screaming. You know how they bring that tiger outside the they're screaming at the tiger. The tiger's
screaming at the tiger.
Like, what the tiger's looking like? Who the hell are these people? Like Mike the tiger.
These people.
Like, who the hell? They yelling and barking at the damn tiger.
Yeah. And then look at, if you guys remember Ryan Anderson. I don't know how many of you remember Ryan. Ryan played outside linebacker for us, played in the NFL for years. Him and Trez Marshall look very similar. When you look, I thought Trez was him at Pro Day. He looked just like Ryan. If you guys Google or YouTube Ryan Anderson's interview on destroying opponents when he was at Alabama, that's the intensity that we used to have at Alabama. He wasn't smiling, wasn't joking. We want to kill everybody. We ain't trying to take no cheap shots or nothing, but we gonna beat that ass. We come here to destroy you. I mean, they was focused, man. Them dudes was just different. They was just different. No jury, no nothing. They just wanted to whoop some ass and get back on the bus and go on back to Tuscaloosa, right? Just different, man. Them dudes was monster. Tony Brown out there in 20-degree weather with no shirt on, right, Tim? And he on the other end of the field with the ops, with the opponents, right? Kimberly, I love grits. I love them, right? With some bacon, love them. But look at those guys, Moon Rocker. Tony out there walking through the opponent. He made it his business to go on the other end of the field, and Coach Saban let him do it and walk through the opponent. He walking through LSU with no shirt on. We just don't got that no more, bro.
What did he say, man? He says I'm an alpha male and I gotta establish my dominance.
Yeah, he them dudes was different, man. Them dudes was just different. They took losing personal, right? Coach Saban always said these guys, they hateful. He called them hateful. He said they hate to lose way more than they love to win. Think about that now, guys. You hate to lose even more than you love to win. That's when you know you're dealing with a fool, right? You're dealing with a fool. This dude, he hate to lose even more than he would want to win. So he gonna do whatever it takes to destroy you, right? Those were the players we had, man. They just was bred different. No disrespect to the players today, right? They dealing with a lot more social media. It's a lot of more fake stuff today that actually mean things. So it's just a different day, man. It's just a different day, right? You know, Jag said it right here. Jag said Bama players during that time was true to the term Crimson Tide. The elephant was roaring. That's a whole fact, Jag. Man, them dudes back then, man, they were some fierce competitors, bro. They, you know, you coming to beat us at Bryant Denny? What? They didn't go to social media, tweeting at social media. No, they finna take it out on the other team. They finna take it out on the other team, man. That team was angry. They was ballers and they knew it. The practices, Bo Scarborough, shout out to Bo Scarborough, told a story on another channel where he said him and, you know, if you guys remember Jaron Reed, Ashawn Robinson, he said them boys would come tell Bo, we gonna kick y'all ass today. Defense versus Bo was like, man, you crazy. We at y'all today. They would get into it. And so you just had a bunch of alpha males, man. That's all it was. And they didn't believe in, I'm not gonna tweet you to death and talk you to death. I'm gonna go out here and put on these pads. We're gonna go at each other and make each other better. So it is what it is, man. You know, right there, Coach J.
There you go. There it is.
Got it.
The hell's, oh, there it is. I'll say, what the hell's going on? All right. Let's see. Clint Howard with the $2 super chat. He says, Roll Tide, roll fellas. Great show as always. We appreciate you so much, Clinton Howard. More than you know.
Sure.
Appreciate all the supporters, all the super chats, all the fan, especially the gifted ones for the fan members. Definitely, really graciously appreciate it. That supports the rest of the coaching staff. That supports Taylor. That supports Kyle, Coach Smoot, rest of the guys up there. So we graciously appreciate it. And like I said, guys, we're trying to bring back that Bama standard mentality back. We're trying to bring it back. Listen, if nobody wants to do it, then we will. We will try to do that. So great, definitely graciously appreciate it, man.
Chad Purnell, what's up, bro? Home team, man. What's going on with you, broski? Hope everything going good with you, bro. On this beautiful day, man. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to you guys, man. I'm gonna go and tap out, Coach J. About to go get it done. Enjoy this Saturday, bro. Enjoy yourself. How's the weather in Buffalo right now?
Snowing.
Wait. It's snowing now?
Yeah, it's snowing. I spent like 2 hours snow plowing. I had to plow my neighbors.
Wow.
Plow my neighbors. I had to plow that. We got like 4 inches. So, yep, still snowing. It hadn't snowed the entire like the second half of February and early part of March. It was actually like 50. It was like 50 degrees almost every day. It was beautiful. And then all of a sudden, we spring happens. We're about to get the solar eclipse in about a week, and it's snow. So
it's crazy. It's beautiful out here. And it's super beautiful, man. About to go out here and wash my car now and go to Cracker Barrel.
I want to cut the grass, man. Like
Yeah.
I want to cut the grass. I don't want to. I'm tired of shoveling and plowing, and then you got it's icy out, so you got to put all the salt on the ground for it. It's just I'm tired of it, man. I want to cut the grass, right? I want to kind of walk out, you can do some beautiful things. Oh boy!
Look, Kimberly said it's 66 degrees in the Gump right now. I don't know what it is.
Perfect weather.
Temperature in Madison, Alabama.
Come up in Canada. I can't do that. I can't do that, Bison. Listen, man. I tried to. Listen, Quebec. If you want to go, if there's a beautiful area to go in the winter, definitely go to Montreal. Beautiful, very, very beautiful. I've been to the ice hotel where literally it's just nothing but ice and snow, but the way that they kind of sculpt it and the architecture is great. But no, Canada's way worse than us than what we have in the north.
Did we just buffer? Or was that just mine?
I think we all just buffered.
Okay, cool. Yeah, man. So it's about 57 here. 7 degrees in hot Atlanta. Yeah, man. I love the ATL, boy. I love the ATL. If you guys tap in with us, see Coach J right there with his Twitter. See me on mine. Tap in inboxes. Whatever we do, we answer all questions. Tap in with Coach J. I love Coach J's channel. I go watch his videos, man. Enjoy it. I can't wait for the pro season so I can see my broski get on there and do his thing.
Planning, doing whatever, do whatever.
Yeah, man. Love his channel, man. Shout out to all y'all in the Undefeated. What's up, Greg Coffee? How you doing, man? Much love to you, broski. And I don't know. We don't tap back in today, none, do we?
No, I think we're just done. I don't think they included the schedule. Let me check. Just in case.
Okay.
Nope, I do not see. Yeah, I don't see it. I don't see it.
I picked St. Mary's to go all the way to the Elite Eight, and they lost. So my bracket is boo-boo right now.
Oh, everyone's bracket's dead. Like everyone's bracket's dead. There's zero. First time, and I want to say first time I think ever that it's been zero brackets, zero perfect brackets in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's disgusting.
I think Florida lost.
Oh yeah, they did. It's 2 SEC teams: Tennessee and Bama.
Good night.
Everybody else lost.
Yeah, our conference, man. For all that great basketball we played during the season, to get to the tournament and lay an egg, damn, man. We just need to stick with football. Because this tournament. When's the last time an SEC team won the whole thing in the NCAA tournament? Kentucky, maybe?
Yeah, Kentucky won 2011.
Yeah, that's the last time. That's the last time an SEC team has won a basketball tournament. Has won the basketball championship. So
Auburn almost did.
Yeah. Jarvis at Texas A&M. Jarvis at Texas A&M.
What do they win?
They still in. They should still be in it. I think.
Oh, they're still in the tournament.
Yeah. What's up, Jarvis? How you
Okay.
doing, broski?
That's a shame, man. See, how three football schools are. Well, I know Tennessee's a basketball team. I'll take that back. So yeah,
Fact.
you have two football schools and one actual basketball powerhouse that is still in the state.
Yeah, man.
But the actual basketball powers have been eliminated in the first round.
It's a fact. Did Duke get beat?
No, they're still in.
They still in? Okay. It's crazy, man. But you guys have a great Saturday, man. Coach Jay, you have a great Saturday, brother.
Yep.
If you don't mind, will you close it out, Coach Jay?
Yes, I will. I'm going to close it out pretty much by then. So yeah, guys, Coach Sean, Coach Jay, we will catch you guys later. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
It's been a